The following is a special production of WOBL, WDLW Sports. WOBL, AM 1320, FM 107.7, and WOBLradio.com. WDLW, 98.9 FM, 1380 AM, and WDLWradio.com. The streams on Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube. Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook. The Lorain County Sports Network is your home for high school football. The last week of the high school football season is here. Lots of senior nights, lots of hugs, lots of joy, and unfortunately, about just as much disappointment. Tomorrow morning is a mixed bag. If you're lucky enough to be in the top 12 in your region, you need to look at video and scouting reports. If not, get ready to clean out your locker and hand in your gear. All of that is true. But tonight, there is work to be done, even if it's one last shot this season. This is the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show on the Lorain County Sports Network. Good Friday to you, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Don Vincent. You would tend to think that conferences would be decided already, that the playoff picture is clear. In some cases, sure, in others, not so much. We'll touch on all of that while we look at tonight's schedule. We'll start in a part of the picture that isn't so clear. The LC8, admit it. Up until last week, you thought you knew who was going to win the conference. Tonight, it'll be decided. So here's the schedule, and it's kind of weird how it worked out. The four teams out of the conference championship picture are playing each other, starting with 4-4, 3-2 Black River, visiting 2-7, 0-5 Oberlin. Black River still has the playoffs in sight, although that path is very narrow. 0-7, 0-4 Brookside will be at 3-6, 1-5 Wellington. Both teams will be capping off the season tonight. The four teams still in the picture in the LC8 play each other tonight and will be at both of those games. The playoff will be impacted by both of these games in a couple different ways. First up, on a Lorain County Sports Network stream on YouTube with Bull Barch and Max Drummond, and Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook with Richard Flowers, 6-3, 5-1 Keystone will be at Tom Hoke Field to take on the Clearview Clippers. With a win, Keystone will play in Week 11, albeit on the road. That same win could put them in a tie at the top of the conference with respect to record. For the Clippers, a win gives them the opportunity to be in the discussion at the top of the conference. Search Lorain County Sports Network on YouTube and Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook for this one. The other game in the conference is on Gold Country, WOBL tonight. 8-1, 5-1 Columbia Raiders visit 4-5, 4-2 Firelands. The Raiders are in the playoffs and most likely get a bye in Week 11, which means they would host in Week 12. The Falcons have a simple mandate. Lose, pack up. Win, get some help, perhaps you continue your season. Gary Tollett and Brian DeVito are on the call on WOBL, 107.7 FM, 1320 AM, and WOBLradio.com as well as on the app. 3-6, 1-3 Elyria Catholic wraps up their initial year in the North Coast Conference with a team at the top of the league, 8-0, 4-0 Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, CVCA. Technically, there is a path to the postseason for the Panthers with a win. Doubting the Royals are really going to let that happen. The Vermilion Sailors head to Bellevue to put their 5-4, 1-2 record on the line. The Sailors are playing another week with a win. A loss will likely take them out of contention, primarily due to second-level points. Bellevue comes in at 6-3 and looks to be favored in this one. Our Cool Cat game of the week takes us to Medina, County, and City. The 2-7 Lorain Titans play the 2-7 Medina Battling Bees. Neither has a real shot at the playoffs, so both will be ending the season tonight. It's still a big deal. Everyone wants to win the last game of the year to feel good looking ahead to next year. Dave Granczynski will join me on the call for this one on 98.9 FM, 1380 AM, WDLWradio.com, and on the app. Finally, it's the SWC, which has more than a couple teams looking at the postseason. 8-1 Avon Will actually already has won the conference. Tonight they are playing to improve their tournament draw.
One last ride in 2025 for Lorain County's Four Horsemen. Tonight, we come your way from Clearview High School for the season finale as the Clippers play host to the Keystone Wildcats. And we're happy to have this one for you live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. It's our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Your local, reliable, trusted lender is Legacy Home Finance. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Andy Bolbarch, join you alongside my comrades, my colleagues, and co-conspirators. Max Drummond providing the colorful analysis. El Capitan, the director of our broadcast. Edwin Vereen, and we've got Sam Sovakul working the camera tonight as well. This is the pregame show, which is brought to you by Stewart's TV and Appliance. Shop smart, shop local, shop Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria. Max, great to be joined by you as always. Well, we pulled a bit of a switcheroo coming out here to Clearview. An outstanding matchup between two LC8 teams and two teams trying to punch their ticket into the postseason.
Yeah, very excited, and this isn't the first time in back-to-back years that this game has had some prowess around it and some different circumstances. So looking forward to being out here and glad to be here on senior night for the Clippers as well.
Great to be here, no doubt about that. We are nice and cozy warm up here in the Green Path CPA Solutions broadcast booth. Not your typical accounting firm. Visit greenpathcpa.com. Well, it's a bit chilly, but it's week 10. We wouldn't have it any other way, and that brings us right in to our weather and field conditions brought to you by Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, a proud sponsor of high school athletics. Look, for the most part, looks like the precipitation has moved out of the area, but it's a little bit chilly out there.
Yeah, we may be slightly more comfortable than everybody in the stands and on the field tonight. 48 degrees right now, and, well, it's already pretty cloudy out, so the sun is gone. Don't expect to see it. And the wind conditions, not too bad, 5 to 10 mile-an-hour gusts. So if there is some kicking in play tonight, may not be affected as badly as I would have thought coming in.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at that long-term forecast about 5 days ago, they mentioned that the wind could certainly wreak havoc, so you're right. That's a pleasant surprise for both teams, I'm very sure. Let's take a look at our injury update brought to you by Elyria Jewelry and Repair. Treating customers like family, that's Elyria Jewelry and Repair. Well, Clearview comes into this thing pretty healthy for the most part. That is not the case for Keystone. They lost a lot of guys earlier this season. As a matter of fact, catching up with head coach Don Griswold earlier this week, he said they had 7 season-ending injuries.
Yeah, it's a brutal blow, and like you said, Clearview, it's kind of been the opposite direction. To start the year, they had a few guys banged up, but have been able to make it back, or their injuries aren't serious enough to hold them out. So it'll be very interesting to see that dynamic in play tonight for both teams.
It affects them in a few different ways, but primarily it affects them up front, although last week it didn't affect them too much in that victory over Firelands. In just a few moments, we'll get to the coin toss. The captains will be out there. Keystone has 8 different captains. That's right, they've got 8 captains. Caleb Scott, Zach Taylor, Shane Ohl, Colton Cowling, Nick Linden, Mason Grams, Tucker Webb, and Mehmet Ulipinar. And for the Clearview Clippers, they've been going with a fairly consistent 4. They will mix a few in there on occasion. Number 1, Cam Williams. Number 12, Montez Sanchez-Miller. Number 16, Tristan Antilli. And number 73, Anthony Lockman. Captains are brought to you by North Coast Insurance Group. See Robert H. Garcia, your local All-State agent in Avon. Well, coming up here in just a couple of moments, we will hear from both head coaches, Keystone head coach Don Griswold and Clearview head coach Cody Kea, and we'll get their thoughts on tonight's matchup. And that comes your way here in just a minute on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. Today and tomorrow, your partners in growth, that's Buckeye Community Bank. We'll take a timeout, and we'll hear from the head coaches right after this on the Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Cruising along on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We're sitting down now with Keystone head coach Don Griswold. Coach Griswold, as always, we appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time. Well, let's talk about this ground game of yours to start. You guys are in an outstanding environment here tonight where a win would get you into the postseason, and you've done a lot of great things with that ground game. Wyatt McKee is the guy that's certainly at the forefront of that. Outside of Wyatt McKee, what else has really kind of helped this ground game get on track and stay on track for you guys?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, every team goes into our game thinking, how can we contain, limit, number one? We don't want Wyatt McKee to beat us, right? So, what's some of the keys to getting that going are just getting more game reps under our belt for some of our younger offensive linemen. Is getting the passing game going. We've been adding formations, different wrinkles every week. So it's been a myriad of reasons and causes. Having Wyatt back there healthy, high ankle sprain, out 2 games. So, when you put all those factors together, what you get is a dynamic home run ability in the running game. But yeah, it's also the development of our quarterback and our receivers. Because if you don't have those things, a defensive scheme is fairly simple. We're going to load the box, play man versus man, and just pin our ears back. So a lot of little things add up to a solid, explosive run game.
Let's transition into that passing game also. You talked a little bit there about the development of your sophomore quarterback, Colton Colling. Can you be more specific on how he has progressed this year and how that's really kind of helped this offense evolve?
Yeah, for sure. So, we've been blessed with some pretty dynamic athletes to play quarterback for us. And I don't remember the last time we started a sophomore. It worked out that way. Colton, first of all, is a coach's dream, very coachable, wants to be elite, comes in for extra film sessions. So there's that desire, right? He puts in the time beyond practice. And then with that, our offense is quarterback centric. There's a lot of decision making that they have pre-snap, post-snap. Many of our play calls are 2, 3, 4 options in one play. So you can replicate that in practice as well as much as you can, right? But you're going to be limited. He did all the film sessions, seeing other quarterbacks before him do it, but none of that matches what you get in game-like reps, right? Game speed reps. And it is a process, as Coach Saban would say, right? And it's not coach speak, it just is. And now that we're in week 10, each week he's making jumps in that progression, seeing the field more, understanding how defenses are attacking us, and making the right decision, or the best decision, I should say, relative to all those options and opportunities.
Let's talk about what you guys have up front. I know you guys aren't 100% healthy up there. You've lost some key cogs on both sides of the line. Coach, what have you had to do in order to adjust, and who are some of the names that have really stepped up in that regard?
Yeah, unfortunately, right, outside of our control, lost 2 starting offensive linemen, lost the starting defensive lineman last week. It's just about, who's the next ready, right? And then get them as ready as you can. I'm really proud of, when you think about that O-line group and all the names that have been shuffled in and shuffled out, just could not be more proud of Luke DeVore. He's a sophomore, but he has the wisdom of a senior. He's been playing hurts, I don't know, all season basically, but we moved him from guard to center. He's a prototypical center. He looks the part, big old body, but he's just a great leader. He will challenge his teammates when they need to be challenged. He will give them the right answer when they need the right answer, and he's just tough as nails. Like I said, he hasn't been anywhere near 100%. Really, really proud of him. On the other side of the ball, Riley Jackson and Jack Bolton, again, guys we didn't know what we had at the beginning of the year, have been mainstays in our defensive line. Just super excited for their growth and their development and their ceilings, and they have played exceptional for us on the D-line.
Of course, we're on the cusp of the postseason, and you guys are in a position where you really control your own destiny. Coach, how do you feel about where you guys are in that playoff picture heading into this final week?
Yeah, I mean, we are content where we are. We are, in the top 12. It's certainly a team that we thought would make the postseason. I think we play in one of the toughest regions in the state of Ohio, and it's awesome to have a Week 10 game where it matters. It's relevant. We're blessed to be on the radio, and again, just it's 1 week at a time, right? We know that the chips will fall, and the computer points, and however they figure that out will fall into place after Friday's game. So it doesn't really matter if we don't beat Clearview. We've had great games with them in the past, and looking forward to just a really awesome, fun matchup, Week 10.
Well, let's dive into that matchup. Clearview certainly has surprised a lot of people in recent weeks. What are some things that they do really well that you've seen both on paper and on film?
Yeah, offensively, they took their best athlete and put him at quarterback. They've got big linemen up front that just kind of lean on you and road grade you. They run really simple yet smart schemes that best fit their personnel. They will try to out-formation you, try to outflank you to one side, and if you tilt your defense too far that way, they're going to come back and hit you with counter. So they really keep you balanced. They keep you honest. They have just enough bubble/RPO game to ding you and to gash you if you play the run too heavy. They got some really speedy wide receivers outside so they can go over the top. So they really can attack you in a myriad of options, whether it's horizontally or vertically. And they've got athletes for sure, and they've got linemen. And coach over there feels like they are developing a tough blue-collar mentality up front. And, we're going to have to play solid defense. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Coach Kaya is their head coach, but he's been their DC, their defensive coordinator for a number of years, continues to call the defense. They are very aggressive. They will take some chances, but they are downhill. They will blitz. They blitz probably more than any other team in the league. So you got to be prepared for the chaos that they try to impart on the offensive line. So they're going to get some, but there's also home run ability there when we're on offense. So yeah, they just do some really smart schemes over there that play to the strengths of their personnel.
Great stuff. Well, Coach Griswold, as always, we appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time, and we wish you the best of luck against Clearview later on the night.
All right, Andy, thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Keystone head coach Don Griswold joining us on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We'll step aside and take a quick timeout and come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back into the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner, and we are speaking with Clearview head coach Cody Kaya. Coach Kaya, we appreciate you giving us a few moments of your time, and wow, I mean, where to begin? Off of that incredible upset victory over Columbia last week, you guys come into the last week of the season with a chance at punching your ticket to the postseason. Coach, where did you notice this team really begin to turn a corner and start to play some outstanding football? Because it seems like this team is hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, first off, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. But I would say, really, this has been weeks in the making. I'd say, really, when we got into conference play, I started to notice a change. I thought little by little we were starting to piece things together. And, I mean, all of it obviously starts up front on the O-line, but behind him, Cam Williams has done a great job of embracing the quarterback position, and the growth he's shown, especially for a kid that's quite honestly never played the position before, has really, I feel like, elevated our offense. And, you know, it's a total team effort, but we've been putting a lot of good things together week in and week out, really, since conference play started.
Let's stick with Cam Williams for just a moment. Coach, when was it and why was it you guys decided to make that switch to put Cam under center?
Yeah, it kind of started by accident. We had some injuries and different things going on, some sickness, and we had guys banged up. And one day we were sitting around looking, and they're like, man, it was a Monday, I believe. Who's who can take snaps in case, we're in an emergency situation. And yeah, Cam stepped up and said, yeah, I think I can handle it. And we had a variety of kids taking snaps. And I'm watching Cam and his footwork and my offensive coordinator. He just looked natural with it. It looked like he had done it before. And then from there, we haven't missed a beat, and he's continued to get better each week.
Yeah, the numbers certainly back that up. There's no question about it. I know up front there are certainly some kids that have gone a long ways as far as taking on a leadership role and buying into some of these concepts that have really helped you guys continue to get more confidence week after week. Who are some of those guys that have led the charge for you up front?
Yeah, well, I mean, it starts with, I'd say, our seniors, so Anthony Bachman and Manny Moore at our guard position. They've done a great job of kind of setting the tone, and they've been, accustomed to the starting role as they've started multiple years, each of them. And then the middle, our center, Timmy Horvath, done a great job too. I mean, he's kind of taking charge and calling, our blocking schemes out and everything. So he's credit to him where it's due. And then at the tackles, we have two juniors too, and Brody Wacker and Zach Young, that have both stepped up, and they've even played guard a little bit at times, but they haven't missed a beat. They've done a great job, and we even have a sophomore in Lamar Penny getting in some rotational time too and helping us out big time.
The last couple of weeks, you guys have certainly turned a lot of heads, and now you have a chance to play for a playoff spot here in the last week of the regular season. Coach, is there anything different that you've noticed about the guys in practice this week?
I would say we're about the same as any other week, kind of business as usual, if you will. I mean, the kids, we've had, healthy conversations and talked about what's on the line and what's at stake, and they're well aware. I guess the only thing I could say is, and it's not even been just this week, as we've had some more success, I've noticed there's definitely a little bit of an edge, or, a little bit of just confidence you can see in the kids.
And, of course, tonight you're taking on the Keystone Wildcats, a team that's also playing for a playoff spot this week. Coach, what are some things that Keystone does really well, and in what ways do you believe they're going to test you later on tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they're a great team, and no doubt about it. They're disciplined. They're well coached. I mean, their kids are always in position to make plays, and they typically execute. I mean, they're very explosive on the offensive side of the ball. And it starts with, I know their running back, Wyatt McKee, like I said, one of the most explosive kids in the entire area. There's no doubt about that. And then, their young quarterback's doing a great job too. They've got receivers. They can spread you out and beat you in a variety of ways. Defensively, they hold their own. It seems like, they have drives or teams establish a rhythm against them, but they're kind of that bend, don't break defense. And like I said, it'll be a good game. I'm looking forward to it, and we're always looking forward to challenges when we play quality, competition.
Great stuff. Well, we're looking forward to calling it a little bit later on tonight. Coach Ko, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for stopping by. We wish you the best of luck against Keystone later on tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for your time, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Clearview head coach Cody Kaya joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We will step aside and take a quick timeout. We'll come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Putting the finishing touches on our pregame show, brought to you by Stewart's TV and Appliance. Shop smart, shop local, shop Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria. Glad to be coming your way tonight, live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network for the regular season finale between the Clearview Clippers and the Keystone Wildcats. Now it's time to dive into our keys to tonight's game, brought to you by Williams Brothers Builders, performing site work, concrete carpentry with their own forces. That's Williams Brothers Builders.
Well, this is a pair of teams that they kind of mirror each other in several senses, and I think it's only fitting that their keys kind of tie together really well. So instead of kind of doing one for each team, just overall in this game, both teams really like to run the ball. They establish their ground game early and often, both right around 200 yards per game. And I think the difference is going to be who can break off either a long run, either on a chunk run, anything over 30 yards, or find a play in the passing game, somehow slip one past these defenses that have been playing pretty well this season. And just looking forward to seeing that chess match play out. Obviously, it's going to be a very physical chess match, but who's able to kind of finesse their way to a big play and break this game open.
Physicality is certainly something I think both sides definitely expect this deep into the season. All right, let's take a look at our referee and his officiating crew tonight. The officiating crew is brought to you by the attorneys at Stringer and Gazier. Working personal injury, family law, and workers' compensation cases, that's Stringer and Gazier. Head referee is Tim Dyke. He will be joined by umpire Tim Dillon, linesman Mark Hillis, line judge Mark Novak, and back judge Steve Awanek. Let's take a look at the starting lineups now. Lineups are brought to you by Gehring's Tavern. Edwin Vereen and Max Drummond found out firsthand that post-game meals just taste better at Gehring's Tavern in Grafton. We'll get to the coin toss here in just a moment, but we do know that Keystone will be on offense to kick things off, so we'll take a look at that side of things for Keystone. The wide receivers are number 5, Shane Ola, 6'2", 210-pound senior. Number 9, Brendan Hagerman, a junior at 5'11", 175, and also a sophomore in number 7, Bobby Gurich, 6 feet tall, 205 pounds. In the backfield, number 1, Wyatt McKee, 5'11", a junior, 200 pounds, and number 3, Zach Taylor, 5'9", 175-pound junior. The quarterback is Colton Cowling, a sophomore, 6'3", 185. Left to right up front. At tackle on the left side, Clinton Thomas. At left guard, Kyle Naylor. The center is Luke DeVore. Right guard, Gus Hoops. And the right tackle is Aiden Wright.
Looking at the defense that'll be opposing them for the Clippers, we'll start up front. Montez Sanchez Miller, senior defensive end, wearing number 12. Then in the middle, Zach Young, Manny Moore, very disruptive there on the interior. And Brody Wacker closing out that defensive line on the opposite side. Then up to the linebackers, Tristan Lentilli, Christian Stevenson, as well as Cam Williams. We'll see him on offense as well. And then in the secondary, Jamel Wilson, Nate Christensen at the safety spot, and Xavier Garcia out wide at corner.
Coin toss went down just a little earlier tonight. The coin toss brought to you by the Lorain County Visitors Bureau, celebrating 200 years together. That's the Lorain County Visitors Bureau. Clearview won the toss and they deferred, so Keystone will be going right to left here to begin the festivities tonight. They will retrieve the opening kickoff. That opening kickoff comes your way courtesy of Lorain County Community College. Kick off your future with LCCC. That's Lorain County Community College. Now, what a matchup we have here tonight, Max. Should be a big one. Well, the winner, in the case of Keystone, they win, they would get in. And in the case of Clearview, a win would go a long ways to getting them into the postseason.
Yeah, and they've already done a little bit of the unthinkable last week, pulling off that big win against Columbia to even give them a chance here in Week 10. So they're looking to ride that momentum not only here into this week, but into Week 11.
McKee is back deep around his own 15-yard line, ready to retrieve the opening kickoff. In special teams, sometimes something that can be swept under a little bit when you're talking about schools that are a little bit smaller. And you have a lot of teams at the Division IV and Division V level. They hardly ever kick point after attempts. They go for 2 all the time.
Yeah, they spend most of their practice time on those extra plays near the goal line instead of a kicking unit.
The opening kickoff, end over end. It's retrieved by Taylor at around the 21-yard line. He's got room to run. Zach Taylor gets across the 50-yard line, and he's undercut right around the 47. Zach Taylor with a terrific kickoff return. And Keystone has great field position to begin the game.
Well, and in the pregame, we discussed looking for an electric play rather than, short yardage or grinding your way down the field. Right there, special teams is a great way to do it, especially right out the gate of this game.
Nose of the ball at the 46-yard line. A terrific return, and we expect to say the name Wyatt McKee a lot here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Colton Collin, sophomore quarterback. In the shotgun, he'll have McKee behind him. And the other tailback in the starting lineup is Zach Taylor. They've got him lined up in a wing on the near side. Collin, just a sophomore, made waves as a freshman in basketball last year. They give it to McKee. Makes a nice little cut to the outside. He's got room to run, and he's tackled along the numbers after getting close to first down yardage. He got near the 36. And they'll spot him down just shy of that at the 37, a 9-yard pickup.
And we got to see a really nicely executed block there by number 9, Hagerman, at the end of that run. He held off until McKee was closer to him, so he didn't get a block in the back penalty. Heads-up play there.
And we have whistles early and somebody was lined up in the neutral zone for Clearview. That's going to cost them 5, and that will give Keystone a first down.
And already in the first couple plays, we're seeing how much the Wildcats trust just the sophomore Cowling with guiding this offense and directing traffic here. On the first 2 plays, he's looked over a sideline. That time they catch somebody fooled there on the hard count.
Cowling throws a pretty nice ball. We saw him in warm-ups about a half hour or so ago. Real nice touch on those passes. Waiting on that shotgun snap. He gets it. They'll feed McKee again. A nice hole to run through left side. He's tackled left side between the hashes and numbers close to the 20-yard line, and they will move the sticks again.
And the amount of burst that he hits the hole with, it's almost unfair. See him shot out of a cannon almost every time he gets the ball.
Incredible numbers for a guy that missed a couple of games early this year. 825 yards on the ground. He's found the end zone 15 times this season. And he's averaging almost 7.5 yards per pop.
Well, I love the talk with Coach before the game, how creative they're trying to get, so he keeps getting numbers like that.
They'll pass it right side, caught in the flat by Taylor. Taylor breaks one tackle, tries to avoid another, then he's gang tackled close to the 13-yard line. Well, they're going to need that passing game to try and keep this defense honest, to keep them from loading up the box.
It's a Clearview defense that they really get after it up front. They can get a lot of tackles for loss, and including some pressure in the passing game. So quick hitting throws like that are going to be necessary.
2nd down and 2 coming up for Keystone. Again, had great field position to begin this drive after a great kickoff return by Zach Taylor. Colling is going to pitch it, but there's nobody home. And thankfully for Keystone, that will fall incomplete. He actually shoveled that behind him, and that pass was immediately ruled incomplete.
Well, and you could tell somebody turned the wrong direction because Cowling, he tried to turn the hand off, and nobody was there, so he's just got to try to make a play on his toes there. And luckily, obviously, to keep the ball and not give it up on a turnover, but also imagine if they lose 4 yards there and it's a 3rd and around 6 right now.
Totally different scenario. It's 3rd down and 2. They're inside the red zone, brought to you by Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services. Buying or selling soon? Visit superstevesells.com. Colling throws left side, and Taylor can't hang on to it. That pass was a bit too hot to handle out in the flat on the near side, and 4th down coming up for Keystone.
Well, so the first time they tried to pass, that's how they did it to the opposite side of the field. Worked out well right there. Had 2 lead blockers instead of 1 this time, and Taylor may have been able to find more than just the first down, just not able to bring it in there.
Offense stays on the field. The kicking is handled by Brendan Hagerman. 16 for 21 on point after attempts. There were no field goal attempts listed on the stat sheet that we were given. Offense stays on the field on 4th down and 2 from the Clearview 12-yard line. Colton Colling grabs the snap. They're going to hand off to Taylor. Taylor's got the first down inside the 10-yard line, and he's wrestled to the turf near the hash. They'll pick up first down yardage on 4th down and 2. They'll spot him down at the 8.
So right there, all eyes probably went to McKee when they're in the pre-snap. Instead, he's the lead blocker, and he's able to get a piece of 2 different Clippers there and spring Taylor for the first down.
They've called the number of both McKee and Taylor a lot on this opening drive. First down and goal now with the ball spotted at the 7. Colling will hand it off to McKee, but he is hit right away, and he's got nowhere to go. Boy, that defensive line for Clearview just gobbled him up right away, and they'll spot him down for a loss of 3.
Yeah, 2 guys that stood out on that one are probably the 2 biggest guys on the field, and Anthony Lockman, Manny Moore. And when we see Keystone try to run up the middle tonight, they're going to be running into those 2 a lot.
2nd down and goal now from the 10-yard line. Keystone has done a lot of their damage offensively on the ground, averaging nearly 200 yards per game in that category. Colling will take the snap. It'll be a keeper trying to get across the edge left side. He's able to turn the corner, and he gets into the end zone. Touchdown. A 10-yard touchdown dash for the quarterback, Colton Cowling. And Keystone fires the first shot. They've got a 6-0 lead with 8:34 to play here in the first quarter.
And it's fascinating right there, that close to the end zone. You'd expect a read option or a speed option. Looked like McKee wasn't even an option to get the ball there. So the fact that they trust Colton Cowling to go finish it off himself, he's got the athleticism. I know we've seen that on the hardwood and continues to show it on the football field.
Brendan Hagerman, is on for the extra point to try and make it an early 7-0 lead for Keystone. Again, this was all set up by a terrific kickoff return from Zach Taylor. This drive began at the Clearview 46-yard line. High snap, they get it down. Extra point from Hagerman is on the way, and it is good. 7-0 Keystone with 8:34 to play in the opening stanza. Live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Keystone goes 46 yards on 8 plays, and they scored a 10-yard touchdown rush from quarterback Colton Colling, and they have the early 7-0 advantage over Clearview. Well, Max, that was a pretty impressive opening drive.
Yeah, they're able to set the tone there and really hit their bread and butter. And, I mean, they went to the air a few more times than I was expecting, but all 3 times they were right around the line of scrimmage anyway, so not very high-risk throws either.
Brendan Hagerman ready to kick it away. Jermel Wilson and Cam Williams back deep to retrieve this for Clearview. This is going to be picked up on one hop by Williams at the 19-yard line. Williams goes right through the center of the field, and it takes a few different Wildcats to tackle him at the 45-yard line. So good field position for Clearview on a nice kickoff return.
And we know we're going to be seeing him handle the ball a lot, call his name often, and that extends to special teams as well. So he's just willing to do whatever it takes to flip this game, and I'd imagine they'll be turning to him a lot on this drive, the same way Keystone turned to number 1 on their first drive.
Ball spotted directly between the 45 and 46-yard lines. So again, really nice field position for the Clippers to begin this opening drive. Tristan Antilli is the deep back here. They'll give it to him. He plunges straight up the middle, and he goes down at the 49 of Keystone. A 5-yard pickup on a play where they ran right at the teeth of that Keystone defense.
Yeah, testing them early and possibly knowing they have a couple guys. They're short a few up there in the trenches, and this is a pretty experienced offensive line that you're working with if you're Clearview, so you definitely want to lean on them here this evening.
And Tilly and Christian Stevenson, the 2 tailbacks, with Cam Williams leading the charge at quarterback for the Clippers. Williams will take the snap, and they'll give it to Antilli again. He's able to lunge forward, get close to the first down. He's going to be awfully close, and the official on the far sideline tells the chain gang to move forward 10 yards. So they get a first down on just a couple of plays.
Yeah, and on that play specifically, that's a nightmare to have to deal with if you're Keystone. You have Cam Williams obviously getting the snap there, but Tilly and Stevenson both an option, and they did a little misdirection there, so you don't really know who's going to end up with it in these formations.
And Tilly, a senior, 5'10", $180. Cam Williams has led the charge in this recent surge for the Clippers. Grabs the shotgun snap. He'll keep it himself. Trying to get across the edge on the right side, and he's corralled at the 42-yard line. So he picks up about 3, and that's a guy easier said than done that Keystone is going to have to try and find a way to bottle up tonight. But again, easier said than done.
Yeah, and coming into the season, he had a feeling he would be a weapon for this Clearview offense, but now that he gets to start the plays with the ball in his hands like he has the second half of the season here, it just makes him that much more of a threat. And plays like that, you never know when he's going to put the arm up and you're going to have to retreat and try to defend that pass. It's been quite the remarkable run here down the stretch.
To your point, he's completing over 60% of his passes, too. And they'll give it to Antilli this time. And he's wrestled to the turf near the 38. So he picks up about 3. And they have a third down and manageable scenario here. They need about 4 yards.
And right there, Zach Young, who's starting in place of a missing Clipper tonight, he leads the way on that one, and that's a good way to warm yourself up on this opening drive, is to have your running back just get on your back and say, let's see how far we can get.
Until he came into this game with 5 trips to the end zone, 506 yards on the ground, but averaging just over 5.5 yards per pop. 3rd down and 4 for Clearview. They have it at the Keystone 38-yard line. Cam Williams will grab the snap. He'll keep it. Trying to get across the edge. He's tripped up and he goes down. It was Dimitri Ruby who was able to grab a hold of him before the rest of the gang got there to clean the play up. They'll give him about the 36-yard line, setting up 4th down and 2.
That was a great job by Ruby of staying home. We saw right there was almost a draw of sorts, as it looked like Cam may have been interested in throwing, looking downfield. Instead, he stays put and is able to close in on that one, not fall for any moves after contact.
2nd, 4th down scenario in this game. Keystone converted on theirs on the opening drive. Clearview trying to do the same here on their opening drive. Williams under center. They give to Antilli. He plunges forward, and he's got the 1st down. 4th down and 2, and they give it to Antilli, who's really kind of had the hot hand on this first drive.
Yeah, and of the options to run the ball outside of Stevenson, he's probably your best option for a power situation. And I wasn't sure. I thought almost Cam Williams may have tried to sneak it there, but maybe being 4th and 2, they want to be a tad bit closer to let Williams try to do it that style.
I think Keystone was probably thinking the same thing. That was the look when he came up under center. But they give to Antilli, and he gets enough to move the chains. And we've got whistles. A flag came in from the far side of the field. Somebody moved early for Clearview.
And typically when you make a change at the quarterback spot mid-season, you never know how that's going to affect your offense. But they've been at it now for 4 or 5 weeks in this format, so can't imagine that has anything to do with what happened there.
Coach Kea was telling us about that process. It almost kind of happened by accident that they ended up making Cam Williams their primary signal caller. I'd say that's worked out exceptionally well. Proof is in the pudding in that second half of the season. They'll give it to Antilli again. He tries the middle, and he gets almost all that they lost on the penalty. They'll spot him down at about the 33. Well, 2nd down and 11 coming up for Clearview.
And to your point about Williams taking over at quarterback, obviously everybody sees the flashy plays, scrambling or finding somebody open deep to make a big play happen, but it's a lot of the stuff that happens pre-play. You got to prepare for it throughout the week, trying to figure out what matchups look like and what works out best for your offensive line game, that chemistry with the receivers, and him being a former receiver may help with that.
Grabs the snap, immediately rolls off to the far side, throws, and the pass is hauled in by Braden Turner. He tiptoes out of bounds on the far sideline, and they will spot him down close to the 28, setting up 3rd down. Well, Braden Turner was the one who took an overwhelming majority of the snaps in the first half of the season before they made that quarterback change.
Yeah, and he's really become an impact player out there, receiver. They obviously don't throw it as often as some other teams may, but when they choose to, Turner, he makes the most of his opportunities. I mean, that's just his 6th catch on the year, but he's over 150 yards on the season.
Just a sophomore, 5'10", $160. It'll be a keeper. Williams tries the middle but can't go anywhere. Boy, Keystone saw that coming, and they swallowed him up at the line of scrimmage.
It looked like Kyle Hurley, the defensive end on the play side there, was able to step up and cause a stalemate, and that bought enough time for everybody else to rally in and bring Williams down before he can make any moves there out of the pile.
Pretty obvious 4-down territory here. It'll be 4th down and 5. Clearview trying to convert on 4th down for the 2nd time of this opening drive. Williams rolling out to the near side, throws it down the field. The pass is knocked away, incomplete. He was searching for Fabian Molina, but the pass fell to the turf, incomplete at the 20-yard line, and they will turn it over on downs.
And a pretty congested area over there as Stevenson was in the area as well. Looked like he may have been fading over the top of Molina there, and their defenders just collided and break that one up.
So with 3:04 to play here in the first quarter, Keystone takes over at their own 27-yard line. A healthy dose of both McKee and Taylor. On that first drive, we expect more of the same here. On their second drive of the contest, leading 7-0. Big-time postseason implications riding on this one for both teams. Colling passes out in the flat, caught by McKee. McKee trying to get to the outside, then he spun back inside, and he's tackled at the 25-yard line. It was Tristan Antilli who made that stop out there, and he had some help as well. He was also corralled at that 25-yard line for a loss of a couple of yards, and a real nice job by this Clearview defense to hold him in check.
And we'll see this a lot tonight from Keystone, as they can really keep you guessing if you're a defense, especially since they let Cowling call from a few different plays to choose from.
Cowling will hand off to Taylor. He slipped, trying to cut back to the inside, and he was cut down to the 21-yard line.
Man, oh man, so after getting a nice fourth down stop, I almost expected them to hammer away with the run game again, but they've tried to catch him napping with a few finesse plays. Hasn't worked so far.
So Colton Cowling trying to get this offense back on track. They've moved backwards. It's 3rd down and 15. He's got 4 receivers at his disposal. Drops back to pass, fires across the middle. It's caught by Taylor in stride, and he's tackled at the 44-yard line for a first down. Nate Christensen brought him to the turf, but not before he picks up a huge chunk to move the sticks.
What a great route that time by Taylor, as he took his slant a little bit deeper than you typically would, but he gets beyond the linebackers and gets more than enough for the first down.
Those can be deflating. On 3rd down and 15, they keep the drive alive. Cowling will hand off to McKee. McKee looked like he had nothing initially, but the pile moves forward to about the 48. So they get 4 yards in a play where it looked like there was nothing there.
Yeah, and that's what you call hidden yardage right there, that if this drive does go on to end in a score, obviously the big chain mover is what people remember, but the very next play, you get ahead of schedule, and it really sets you up for a nice second down here.
Inside of a minute to play in the first quarter, Keystone with a 7-0 lead. They've got the ball on the move, 2nd down and 6 at their own 48-yard line. Both Taylor and McKee in the backfield. They give it to McKee. McKee spins off one defender, and then he's dropped at the 42. They get another first down, and now you're starting to see McKee pick up some steam.
And it just took a little bit of momentum. Obviously, he started the drive trying to catch a ball in the flats. Right now, they're just letting them go right at him. It's working out to this point.
They will more than likely have one last play left in this quarter. Cowling will give it to McKee again. Has a hole to work with on the near side. Looked like he was down, but then he kept moving. He got inside the 35 to about the 33. And that'll set up 2nd down and short, as this Keystone running game is starting to really get some separation at the line.
Yeah, and a guy with that kind of explosivity, you see at the end of that play, he almost tried to get up. You almost take that for granted, but with him, that's definitely a possibility.
That takes us to the end of the first quarter. At the end of one, it's Keystone 7 and Clearview nothing. Live and free on YouTube on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Keystone's offense on the move here as we begin the second quarter. They lead 7-0 over Clearview. 2nd down and 10 for the Wildcats. They have it at the Clearview 34-yard line. Glad to have you with us tonight on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Cowling on a keeper. He's able to get first down yardage after breaking a tackle. He's on the move just outside the hash on the far side. He gets inside the red zone, tackled near the 18-yard line, first down Keystone.
And regardless of how that play went, I was going to talk about how great this offensive line has been doing, especially with some different pieces in there. And they keep it going on that play. He only had one guy to get away from it. Once he did, he picks up 20.
They haven't called on Cowling to run it a ton. As a matter of fact, he's run it just a couple of times here tonight. The 10-yard touchdown rush and a few moments ago, that big chunk that he picked up for a first down. They'll give it to Taylor. Taylor is hit and dropped. Montez Sanchez-Miller along with Cam Williams on the stop, limiting him to no gain on the play.
And it's plays like that that make what Cam Williams is doing on offense even more impressive, is that he's still involved that much on defense. And he kind of has to be with how their depth is working out at this point in the season.
Sanchez-Miller was actually in on a couple tackles for loss on the first two plays of this drive. To set up third down and 15, he had his nose in on that one as well. He's put together some really nice numbers this season. They'll pitch it outside to McKee. Makes a nice cut inside, and he's stopped just outside the hash at the 17-yard line. And it was Montez Sanchez-Miller who was there to slow him down again.
Just about to say, it was apropos that you brought him up before that play, and then Lentilli buys him enough time for Lentilli to come in and finish that one off, and brings up another huge third down on this drive.
Well, a great senior season for him. 19 tackles for loss coming into tonight's game, including 11 sacks.
Those are all conference numbers right there.
I'll say, no question about that. 3rd and 7. Second third down scenario on this drive for Keystone. Cowling looking to the flat far side. It's caught by Taylor at the 21-yard line. Makes a cut inside, hit at the 15, but he keeps his feet moving. He is stopped shy of the first down, and I think they'll spot him down at about the 12. That brings up 4th down.
And that's not the first time on this drive we've seen these Keystone Wildcat runners be able to get away from the first tackler, be able to fight through a pile, and it's cost them a couple times if you're the Clearview defense, and making it 4th and 2, it could once again.
It'll be 4th and 2 at the 12-yard line. And I think Keystone's going to burn a timeout to talk about this one. They will do just that. Timeouts all night long brought to you by Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, securing and organizing real estate documents. That's Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran. We'll keep this one here because 4th and 2 is coming up here from the 12-yard line with 9:46 to play in the second quarter. 7-0 Keystone with the lead, and this isn't the first time they've been presented with a scenario like this.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea there to use the timeout. They were down to around 10 seconds left on the play clock. You definitely don't want to rush this decision. Last time we saw them face it, they were able to throw a different look at him. Wyatt McKee being a lead blocker, you wouldn't expect that on 4th down, so we'll see if they played a tendency or if they do something like that again.
Scary thing about this Keystone offense is they have so many different ways of beating it. You know, and I think there's been a little bit more complexity in the passing game. Coach Griswold alluded to that during the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show, talking about how they've evolved with that passing game to the point where teams can't necessarily stack the box against them.
Yeah, if you do that, you're going to leave yourself open to a few guys that have some pretty good length on. Bobby Gurich and Shane Old both over 6 feet tall. You don't necessarily want to leave those kind of guys on islands.
4th down and 2 coming up. Cowling takes the snap. They give to McKee. McKee plunges his way forward, and it looks like he's going to have just enough for a first down.
Well, he just had to show off every bit of power there to be able to move the chains that time, and keeps this drive alive once again.
Scary part for the rest of the LC8 is that they've still got one more year of Wyatt McKee.
Deal with him.
Just a junior at 5'11", 200 pounds. Again, outstanding numbers coming into this one, despite the fact that he missed a couple of games in the middle of the season. Cowling will feed McKee again. McKee trying to get to the outside, but he can't turn the corner. Well, it looked like that was Zach Young who tore him down and just would not let him get over the edge.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about on offense. He's stepping up there for one of the first times this season, but defense is where he's comfortable, and he showed it right there, bringing him down. The first guy to get a hold of McKee gets him. They need more of that.
And that's just such a tough thing to do. It's very rare that that first guy that gets his paws on McKee can take him to the turf. Cowling on a keeper. He'll run it to the short side of this field, and it was Zach Young who slowed him down. He couldn't quite get across the edge. And he may get a yard on that, but certainly doesn't get much. That'll bring up 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, they were able to learn their lesson a bit from the last time that Cowling took off around the 10-yard line. Last drive, it ended in a score right there, maybe one, like you said, and now it kind of puts him in a tough spot here, maybe forcing Cowling to use his arm on this play.
3rd and goal with the ball spotted at the 8-yard line. They've certainly been faced with this scenario before. Cowling rolling out to the near side, throws to the corner. The pass is caught by Bobby Gurich, and he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Keystone. On 3rd and goal, it's an 8-yard touchdown pass from Colton Cowling to Bobby Gurich, and that makes it 13-0 Wildcats with 8 minutes to play in the second quarter.
Well, not too long ago, you mentioned all the weapons they have to use from or to choose from. And right there, Gurich, you saw him stop on a dime and was able to find his way over the goal line because of it and extend this lead.
There is a flag in the end zone just outside the S in Clippers, and the officials are talking about this one. Still not entirely sure how they're going to sort through all of this, and they continue to talk about that. Gives us a chance to tell you that coming up at the half, we have the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show, and our head referee, Tim Dyke, coming to the near side to talk to Clearview head coach Cody Kea. So it's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty going against Keystone. The touchdown is still good, so that 8-yard TD strike from Colton Cowling to Bobby Gurich will still count. And I believe that's going to be enforced on the kickoff.
Well, it looked like one of the officials was having a conversation with Gurich after that play, so it's tough to tell from up here what led to that, but either way, you get a chance to go up 14-0 here.
Brendan Hagerman trying to make good on his second point after attempt tonight. The hold is down, and the extra point is blocked at the line of scrimmage. It is no good. So the blocked PAT keeps it at 13-0 Keystone with 8 minutes left in the second quarter. Live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. A 14-play, 73-yard drive comes to a close for the Keystone Wildcats on 3rd and goal. Colton Cowling finds Bobby Gurich on an 8-yard touchdown pass. The extra point was blocked. It's 13-0 Keystone. 8 minutes left before we get to the half. They'll kick this off from their own 25-yard line after the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which occurred in the area of the end zone shortly after Gurich got in. Brendan Hagerman to kick it away. This will roll along the numbers before it's picked up right around the 36-yard line by Jermel Wilson. Zach Taylor will corral him and stop him. And flags come flying in at the end of the play. They had blown that play dead. And the pile pushed back a couple of extra yards after we heard the whistles. So it looks like this could cost Keystone even more.
Well, credit Wilson for being able to stay on his feet and try to fight there. And he is a guy that has a special teams touchdown this year, so Keystone clearly aware of that and didn't want him to get away.
That's right. Our man Dave Rivera called that in Oberlin when Wilson had the kickoff return for a touchdown. If I remember right, I think that was to begin the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, very electric way to start the game. And now, thanks to the penalty that started the kickoff a few yards back, they're going to be starting at the plus 40. Got to take advantage of this.
So Clearview has it at the Keystone 40-yard line. prime field position to begin their second drive of the game. They turned it over on downs on their first drive. Cam Williams, senior quarterback, 5'8", $165, grabs the shotgun snap. It'll be a keeper. He's able to get past the 40-yard line, and he's able to work his way out of a tackle before being dropped back at the 43, but forward progress will halt that play dead at the 38, so it's a 2-yard pickup.
Well, I'm surprised the forward progress stayed intact there with him almost spinning out of the tackle, but that's a clear example right there of how tough this Keystone front can be despite being maybe a little undersized. There were 3 different pullers there, including a running back trying to lead the way for Williams, and he still only managed 2.
Tough guy to take down. We mentioned those measurables before at 5'8", 165. He's a very difficult guy to bring to the turf. He's going to keep it. Has room to run. Up the middle. He's able to get inside the 30-yard line. He's still going. He's got a first down. Finally stopped at the 28.
He shows off how quick those feet are right there in the backfield. It looked like he was waiting on somebody to do a read action with. Doesn't see him next to him, so he decides very quickly, I'm going. I'm taking what they give me, and he gets more than enough for the first down.
And you got to imagine, when you're waiting on that defensively, it plays with your mind a little bit. Is he going to give it up? Is he going to keep it? And then he keeps it. He's got all kinds of room to work with. Just inside the 30 now at the 28-yard line. He'll have Antilli off his left hip here in a 3-receiver look. Grabs the snap. They give to Antilli. Antilli is able to plow forward inside the 25, maybe got to the 23. And that's a play that's been there for him throughout the night. Not a sexy play, but it picks him up a handful of yards on first down.
No, what it also does is it helps eventually open up the perimeter run game, and that's where Cam Williams can really show off his ability. And like you said, for Lentilli, it's been a lot of the same. He's averaging right around 4.5 yards a carry on plays just like that, and that's how you stay on schedule right here.
They've certainly done that on this drive, trying to capitalize on good field position. They call the number of Antilli again, and Antilli's able to get close to the 21-yard line. So he picks up just a couple, and it'll be 3rd down and 3 to go for the Clippers.
And with how much Cam Williams has taken the LCA by storm, obviously there's going to be eyes on him. But plays like that, those defensive ends, those outside linebackers, the more you do it, the more they tend to crash, or maybe they don't stay at Williams for as long and help set you up.
Williams under center. He's able to push his way forward. This is going to be close. The official on the far side started to angle in. They haven't spotted the ball just yet. And anxious to see where exactly they're going to put this down. And based on where they're standing now, it looks like it's going to be a hair short. And it will be 4th down.
That's as close as you can get without actually picking it up. Wow.
It was really hard to tell where they were going to spot that. And they had a conference there close to where the play ended. 4th down and inches. Williams under center, and that pile will push forward just a bit, although Keystone doesn't think that they've got the first down. Let's see. It all depends on the spot. The way Keystone's reacting, this drive is over. But the officials haven't made a signal one way or the other.
And with where they put it, I got to imagine you bring the chains out for a closer measurement here.
And it looks like they're going to give it to Keystone.
And their offense is already out there ready to go. And it looked for a moment that pile was going forward, and then enough Keystone guys pile on where it veered to the right on your screen. And obviously there's no telling where the ball was in that pile, but maybe they're keeping an eye on Cam Williams' helmet, and they just didn't see enough for him to cross.
Too tough for us to tell from up here at this angle. So close they had maybe a half a yard to get there. And you're right, you wonder if maybe bringing the chain gang out may have been the right call. Now we've got whistles and a timeout called by Clearview. We'll take this timeout as well. 4:42 to play in the second quarter. Keystone 13, Clearview nothing. Live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Keystone forces Clearview to turn it over on downs inside Keystone territory for the second time tonight. They'll take over at their own 19-yard line, leading 13-0 with 4:42 to play in this second quarter. Sophomore quarterback Colton Cowling leading the charge for this Keystone offense. They give it to McKee. McKee has room to run as he cuts to the outside, and he goes down close to the 28-yard line. He kind of got lost in the shuffle there. He went up the middle, saw nothing was there, and then somehow just bounced off that pile and got to the outside.
And what makes it more remarkable is, he's doing that to the short side of the field. A lot less room to work with over there, and still navigates his way forward.
He's had a real nice start to this game at a high ankle sprain that kept him out in the middle of the season. And we mentioned the injuries for Keystone. Wildcats have been able to battle through that. The injuries have really affected them up front. Cowling will grab the snap and keep it himself. Running to the short side of the field. He's corralled. He tries to change field. Running to the near side. He gets tackled back at the 30 or 28-yard line. There was Xavier Ricks, one of the first ones there to slow him down, and it was his counterpart, Cam Williams, that wouldn't let him get across the edge of the near side.
Yeah, I was just about to mention Ricks going into the game. You're going to see him come out now until he comes back in, but he makes the most of his one play right there on this drive. Could lead to a stop.
Third down and short for Keystone. On fourth down and a little less than a yard. They would not allow Clearview to pick up the first down. They took over inside their own 20. Timeout called by Keystone with 3:16 to play here in the second quarter. A big third down coming up here, so we'll go ahead and keep this one here. And we want to remind you that coming up at the half, we have the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. We'll get you a scoring recap. We'll take a look at some first half stats and take a look at that Week 10 scoreboard as well. Lots of intriguing matchups around the area.
Yeah, there's a lot of playoff points on the line and just rivalry games in general. And very excited that our family of channels is able to get out and see 4 of them, all with pretty impactful things going on.
Yeah, really good matchups across the area. This certainly one of the bigger ones for sure. Keystone wins, they're in for sure. Clearview, a win would go a long ways, would still need some help. And there are some other scenarios like that around the county where teams are going to have to win and hope for a little help in order to get in. With the field shrinking to 12 teams in every single region, makes Week 10 all the more important. Third down and 2 for Keystone coming out of that timeout. Both teams have a pair of timeouts to work with. Take that back. Keystone's got one to work with. They'll give it to McKee. McKee tries to bounce this to the outside. He's got the first down, and he's tackled at the 38-yard line for a first down.
It's amazing. It feels like he's running parallel to that line of scrimmage forever, and then once he sees his gap he wants to work with, he takes off, and there's almost nothing you can do about it.
He could be a punishing runner, yet he's got the ability to make those really tight and quick cuts.
He specializes in them, and right now the tempo affecting Clearview looked like they wanted to sub, but they had to call off the substitution that time with Brody Wacker to keep him on the sideline.
Play clock inside of 10. Low snap. They'll pitch it to McKee. Makes a cut to the inside, and he's cut down at the 25-yard line. And McKee a little bit slow to get up at the end of that play. And a nice job by that Clearview defense of not allowing him to cut back.
Well, and what's caught me by surprise is Manny Moore is lining up on the outside. He's on the edge. Normally we see him on the inside. Right there he contains McKee. And I think that just displays the athleticism you can get from Manny Moore.
Double-digit tackles for loss for Moore coming in, 11 on the season entering this game. Cowling throws left side. The pass is caught by Hagerman. Hagerman breaks a tackle at the 45, and he's able to lunge forward to the 47-yard line, and it looks like he's got enough for a first down. Actually, check that. They're going to say he went down at the 46, so he's just a hair shy. It's 3rd down and 1.
In that passing game, it's really been the difference so far between the two teams tonight as they get close to first down.
They give to McKee. Spins to his left, and he goes down at the 50-yard line. They will pick up that 3rd down. And this drive continues with inside of 2 minutes to play in the opening half.
That fits right into McKee's specialty there. Now I imagine this tempo, they'll stop and look a little less often here as they try to get down the field quickly.
Coming up on the 7th play of this drive. Colling facing pressure, airs this one out, looking for Hagerman. The pass falls incomplete, but a flag came in at the end of the play. Nate Christensen was on the coverage. And it looks like they're going to get Clearview for a pass interference penalty here. And that's going to put them inside Clearview territory. They'll spot the ball at the 35. That's a tough one for the Clippers to take.
And the hardest thing looking at that play, especially if you see it on film the next day, is they may not have needed to even go near him the way Callan kind of sailed that ball.
There was lots of air under that, and I think that was the argument from those here on the near side. Just certainly wasn't a catchable ball, at least it appeared that way from up here, but it's 1st and 10 at the 35. Colling rolling out to the near side. Facing some pressure, he throws across the middle, and the pass for a second looked like it fell incomplete. Now they're going to say he caught that. Zach Taylor somehow makes the catch at the 26.
That's a huge chunk play right there to get around around 9. Keep Clearview on their toes.
Colling in the face of pressure, throws, the pass is intercepted. Cam Williams with a monster interception at the 28-yard line. Tough to tell from here, but it looked like that may have been partially deflected. There was a defender in the face of Colton Colling, and Cam Williams comes up with the first turnover of the game.
Yeah, and right off the edge, Montez Sanchez-Miller, he's able to get in the face of Cowling, mess with that one, and then the do-it-all player, Cam Williams. Who else is going to step up when you need him most on this Clippers roster? Gets it back with a minute 13 to go till halftime.
That is an enormous interception, because that really thwarts a lot of momentum that had been developed by that Keystone offense. They were moving right down the field, and now they have it at their own 28-yard line. Trying to get on the board for the first time tonight. Williams rolling out to the near side, throws to the sideline. The pass is caught, and it's taken out of bounds on the near side, close to the 36-yard line. That was Grant Kudo who made the catch. And it'll make it 2nd and 2.
Yeah, fantastic job getting out of bounds quickly. And I like how Williams, there may have been other options down the field developing, but he made sure to get some guaranteed yardage there. And they do so pretty quickly. Nice chunk of 8.
A nice chunk of 8, and they only took 7 seconds off the clock. They do have a couple of timeouts left. 1:06 left in the second quarter. Williams rolling out to the far side now. Looking down the field, he will throw this, and the pass is caught at the 48-yard line. It's caught by Braden Turner. Turner goes down to the 49, and they're inside Keystone territory, another first down.
And now they should be able to get to use a little bit of tempo of their own, shock the systems of Keystone.
Clock continues to tick inside of 50 seconds. Again, they do have 2 timeouts. Cam Williams rolls out to the near side, looking down the field. He will throw this to Kudo again. Makes the catch at the 45-yard line. He gets tackled quickly. Wyatt McKee was in on that stop after picking up just a few yards. Bobby Gurich in on that stop as well, and timeout is called with 36 seconds left in the half.
Obviously there it's a positive. You pick up a few more yards. You'd almost rather see Grant Turner get out of bounds, but in that situation, you've got 2 timeouts to work with. Not the worst thing in the world to try to get a few more yards. Now it leaves you just 1 to work with around 36 seconds left.
Amazing how things have changed over the last 2 minutes. That interception from Cam Williams, absolutely huge. Even if no points come of that, they negated what would have been a monster drive for Keystone, because if they drive down and score, it could have been 20-0 with not much time left to work with here before halftime. That interception thwarted a lot of momentum, and now they have a chance to cut this deficit in half.
Yeah, like you said, whether you get points here or not, it could turn into a 2-possession swing, getting the ball out of halftime if you're the Clippers. So either way, you secure some momentum before that point.
1 more timeout for Clearview. They're trailing Keystone 13-0 with 36 seconds remaining on the second quarter clock. And Tilly off the right hip with the quarterback, Cam Williams. 3 receivers at his disposal. He'll throw right side, and the pass is caught. Did he stay in bounds? It looks like he did. They only pick up just a couple of yards on that. He was able to complete that to Fabian Molina. And a timeout has been called by Clearview. And now they're saying they want to reset the game clock to 28. So they want to put 2 ticks back on the game clock.
Of course, that could be the difference here at the end of the second quarter. And obviously using your last timeout, not ideal, but I think with where they are now in the third down to go situation, right around 4 yards here, I don't think it's out of the question to try to use Cam Williams' legs here, maybe get back up to the line of scrimmage and catch him off guard and be able to spike it after that and set yourself up with a fresh set of downs and a stop clock.
And talking with Coach K earlier this week, we had asked, what's different about the team in practice? What do you notice that's been different the last couple of weeks? And he said confidence. Look, they're going at this differently than they did in the first half of the season. You see that in scenarios like this, where you've got to be quick, you've got to make good decisions, but quick decisions in this 2-minute drill, and we're seeing some of that here.
And a number of guys, maybe at the start of the year, they didn't have those reps or those live game situations, but now they got them under their belt, and it's a lot more interesting of a drive here down the stretch.
3rd and 4 at the 43. Williams looking down the field. He's in some trouble. He's able to escape it for a moment, but now he's corralled and he's dropped. Shane will sack him at the 47-yard line. And in all likelihood, that'll be the final play of the half, although they're trying to rush to the line very quickly. It's 4th down. He took a snap and then a knee with 8 seconds. And
so I'm seeing a timeout symbol there from the officials.
It's a little confusing. They didn't have any timeouts left, I thought.
I don't believe so. It may have been different on the field versus up on the board, and it almost looked like I saw a spike there from Williams. Either way, if he spiked it or if he dealed it down, being 4th down, that would stop the clock.
And their defense is on the field here. So it is going to be 1st down Keystone. So it's a turnover on downs as he took a snap and a knee. And I think that may have been a scenario where he wasn't aware that it was 4th down.
And it almost appeared the coaches were telling him to wait, and maybe you can just throw up a Hail Mary as when you snap the ball as time expires. Now Keystone will get the chance to do that, and Wildcats have 1 timeout.
5 seconds to work with. Colling drops back, and now they're after him. Rolling out to the near side, throws this one down the field, and the pass is caught by Hagerman. He shoved out of bounds at the 25-yard line. That will take us to the end of the first half. 13-0. Keystone on top of Clearview halfway through this one. Coming up here in just a few moments, we have our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. If you have insurance questions, call Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Lots to get to on that halftime show. We'll give you a quick scoring recap. We'll take a look at those first half stats and also see what's happening at other high school football stadiums in and across the area. And we have our very last edition of Rate the Dog as well. All that and much more coming your way here in just a few moments. Again, Keystone 13, Clearview nothing, halfway through this one on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Enjoying the terrific sounds of the Keystone Marching Band earlier tonight. We were treated to a version of the national anthem by the Clearview Marching Band. Don't forget, national anthem tonight and every single night that we are on the air, brought to you by the United States Air Force. If you're interested in being a recruit, report to the Avon office. That's the United States Air Force. With that, we launch right into our halftime show, brought to you by Health Markets Insurance of Amherst. Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance at Amherst. And if you have insurance questions, Jeff's the man you need to call. Call Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Halfway through this one, it's Keystone 13 and Clearview nothing. Lorain County's 4 horsemen riding into the final week of the regular season. Andy Bulbarch joined alongside Max Drummond, Edwin Vereen, and Sam Sovacool to call this one for you. Before we dive into some of the numbers here, Max, 13-0, a game that I'm sure Keystone would tell you right now should be a bit more lopsided, and a game that Clearview would tell you should be closer.
Yeah, we've seen a few of these down the stretch this season on the Lorain County Sports Network, and it just feels like a few different things here and there would really change what we're seeing on the scoreboard right now, specifically for Clearview, just trying to find a way to finish off these drives. And, I mean, their defense has stepped up a few times, bend but not break. However, they have been broken a few times, whereas Keystone, they've been able to be bent to the absolute extreme and even come up inches of stopping Clearview from keeping a drive going.
Oddly enough, it took me a second to pick up on this, but we didn't have a single punt in the first half.
That's right.
Not one. There were a couple of drives that ended in scores. There were more than a couple of drives that ended in a ball being turned over on downs. So it's been one of those funky games so far where both offenses have been able to drive the ball deep inside the opposition's territory. But you mentioned the issue in this one so far for Clearview has been finishing some of these drives. There's only been one turnover, albeit a really big one with Cam Williams picking off Colton Cowling on a drive where it looked like Keystone was going to march down the field and go up 20-0.
Well, and what's funny about this matchup, we talked about the 13 points in last year's matchup, under very different circumstances. The two teams only combined for 13 the entire game, and the offenses have been a lot more productive tonight than they were last season. And obviously some things outside the players' control went into that, but it's been just about as exciting as it was last year. And I think if we see some things cleaned up and finished off by Clearview, it'll lead to a real exciting finish.
Well, let's tell you how we got to 13-0. The opening kickoff was a really good one from Zach Taylor. That set up Keystone at the Clearview 46-yard line. They needed 8 plays to march down the field, and on 3rd down and goal, it was a 10-yard touchdown rush by Colton Cowling to make it 7-0. Clearview put a nice drive together, but it stalled. They turned the ball over on downs with just over 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. And then Keystone, so far anyways, put together the drive of the night as they went 73 yards on 14 plays, and it concluded on an 8-yard touchdown pass from Colton Cowling to Bobby Gurich. The extra point was blocked, making it 13-0, and that's our count halfway through this one. Let's get a look at those first half stats brought to you by Al Januzzi, CPA.
Well, there's going to be one pretty big difference between the two teams, and right now that's the passing attacks. Colton Cowling, 8 of 11 on the night for 88 yards, and you look over at Clearview, they haven't been able to find as much success through the air, just 5 of 6, pretty efficient, but for 35 yards. And I think that's led to what we've seen in the rushing attack for both sides, as Keystone, with that passing game, has opened lanes up a little bit more. They're giving a little bit more space for guys like McKee and Taylor to work with, and it's leading to around 5 yards a carry and almost 100 yards tonight, whereas Clearview stuck around 2.8 yards per carry. So if they can threaten that defense in the back end for Keystone a little bit more, I think that those running lanes will open up, and they may see more success, a few more big plays that kind of eluded them in the first half.
Again, stats brought to you by Al Januzzi, CPA. It's all about the numbers. Speaking of Al Januzzi, we are on the brink of basketball season. Of course, the football playoffs coming up here, and that will chew up all of the month of November. But we will get to the hardwood here in just a little over a month's time. I don't know that it's officially official just yet, but I did hear a hot rumor that you and I may be working together again in maybe a week and a half or so for that high school basketball coaches show. Again, not sure if it's official just yet. Just telling you what I heard, hot off the press. Maybe, maybe not, but we'll see. It could happen here the next week, week and a half or so. More on that as it develops. Got about 8 minutes and 20 seconds left before we start up the second half of action. Now time for us to break down our Rate the Dog segment, brought to you by Brian Victor of Howard Hanna Realty. Brian says, enjoy the game. Well, big thanks to Brian of Howard Hanna Realty for sponsoring that. We've had a lot of fun with that throughout the course of the season, and a big thanks to all those concession stands who have helped us out and provided those dogs for us to munch on at the half. Well, there have been a lot of interesting decisions for us to make. You guys had a pretty cool one at the beginning of the year when you guys were out of North Ridgeville. Then we had that garlic butter on the bun, second week of the season when we were in Black River. I just think it's so tough to top. That set the bar so high for me because that was my first game of the season, and it's just been so hard for everybody else to get there. There have been some really good ones, too.
I was just about to say, when you come out the gates like that, I mean, they were swinging for the fences with theirs. And I was about to say, whether it's LC8 or SWC or even when we visited places like Elyria Catholic, all of them have their kind of way of doing it. And, you know, some use the grills outside. They get the charcoal going. Others, it's working inside the concession stands. But however they do it, we greatly appreciate it. And it's been a lot of fun to do those ratings each week.
Yeah, it certainly has. And a big thanks to our man Sam Sovacool putting that world-class track and field career of his to good use as he sprints down to the concession stands at the half to get those back up to us so we can rate that dog for you again, courtesy of Brian Victor of Howard Hanna Realty. And, you know, it's been a lot of fun for us to do that throughout the course of the season. You know, we've had some fun with it, too. Not only doing dogs, we've rated some nachos this year. We've rated some cookies and some donuts as well. I love how last week we did the donuts, and it was an immediate 5 from both Edwin and Sam. An immediate 5. No hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah, we shouldn't even have asked them. I mean, we just saw them thumbs up and enjoying the donuts. Didn't even need to speak.
Tip of the old cap to El Capitan as well, because he was the one that sniffed out the garlic butter secret when we were down in Black River. And he brought that to the attention right away of athletic director Coach Rob Clerico. And Coach Clerico said, I don't know. He kind of tried to sidestep it, so he showed his hand there a little bit, but nothing gets by our director, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, maybe that was their secret recipe. We may have exposed that. But either way, I'm sure the Pirate Nation is enjoying it.
You guys can't see this, but Edwin gave it the Matumbo finger wag right there. Nothing gets by him, I'm telling you. All right, let's step aside and take a timeout here at our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. When we come back, we'll get a close look here at our area scoreboard as that playoff picture continues to take shape here in the final week of the regular season. Here at Clearview, Keystone leads 13-0 on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. It's live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back out to Clearview High School, 13-0 halfway through this one. The Keystone Wildcats have the lead over the Clearview Clippers. Glad to have this one for you on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Putting the finishing touches on our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. If you have insurance questions, call Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Andy Bullbarch and Max Drummond on the call. Edwin Vereen, our director, Sam Sovacle working the camera tonight. Here in just a moment, we will take a look at the area scoreboard. Well, a lot of intriguing matchups going into this last week of the season. A healthy chunk of teams in, just working on playoff seeding. But there are a lot of teams really fighting in this final week of the season, just hoping for a shot to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, the condensing down to 12 teams, we've alluded to it a few times over the previous couple of weeks as we've gotten closer to the playoffs. But it hasn't taken away some excitement from matchups, as some may thought it would, removing 4 teams from each region. But here in Lorain County, there's still plenty at stake.
There's a lot at stake, no doubt about that. Let's take a look at some of these scores. Black River leads Oberlin 20-6. Vermilion 6, Brookside nothing. Staying in the LC8, Columbia all over Firelands 21-0. Well, a lot of people were hoping for some chaos in the LC8 in that final week of the season. We're not getting much of it so far based on the scores that we just went through. In the SWC, Avon all over Elyria 37-7. Well, they've got a great one brewing over in Olmsted Falls between the Bulldogs and the North Ridgeville Rangers, 22-21. North Ridgeville with the edge on Olmsted Falls. Berea Mid-Park trailing Avon Lake 21-14. There's no score at the half between Amherst and Midview. And that's a game that does have playoff implications, kind of sort of riding on the line. Both teams would need to win and hope for a ton of help to get in. For Midview, Division III, Region 10, and for Amherst, of course, in the always tough Division II, Region 6. Elyria Catholic trailing 28-6 to CVCA. Medina having some fun at the expense of Lorain 30-8. And the Vermilion Sailors need a win in the worst way possible to try and get into the postseason. Right now, they are trailing Bellevue 10-0. So those are your area scores. And as you take a look at that, looking at Midview, Amherst, again, 2 teams that need to win and hope for a lot of help to get in. Columbia's in a good position to host in that first round. They would need some help after the loss against Clearview last week in order to get that first round bye. And you have a lot of other teams here just kind of jockeying for position.
Well, and what's so notable about a few of those teams is that, like, for example, that Midview-Amherst matchup, because of the quality of competition they play not only in the SWC, but when they schedule their non-conference games, even if they're at 4 wins or 5 wins, there's a lot of playoff points gained there, and there's a few scenarios, especially with Amherst in Division II, that they could jump ahead of some teams in front of them just because of some of those wins they were able to pick up and steal along the way that those other teams, even in their conference play, just can't get.
Yeah, and you look at some of these other games. Avon's already wrapped up a first-round bye, but they're up on Elyria 37-7. Between North Ridgeville and Olmsted Falls, and, of course, we had a thriller last week between Amherst and North Ridgeville. And talking with Coach Brian Morgan before that game, he mentioned, look, it's tough to tell how this is going to play out, but based on the way we see the computer points projecting us, there's a chance that we could end up facing Olmsted Falls in the first round of the playoffs. Now, of course, White House, Anthony Wayne, if they end up winning or maybe some other guys end up dropping out, there's a chance that North Ridgeville could end up getting a first-round bye if they hang on and win that game, too. That would be a monster win, and that would complete a monster regular season for a program that has really turned things around since Coach Morgan took over.
Yeah, and they've been rising in the pecking order of the Southwestern Conference since he has taken on the role of head coach there, and it's just led to some really exciting movement as well at the top of that region, Division II, Region 6, and that just happens to have a lot of teams from the area in it.
And you would like to think that if they beat Olmsted Falls in Olmsted Falls, who again hold the 5th spot in that region, that would be enough to secure that first round bye. Again, it's hard to project how these things might play out, but if they win that, how can you justify moving them out of that 4th spot? That is such a tough region at the top. The always difficult defending state champions in Avon. You've got Medina Highland, who we saw in the 2nd week of the season, or I should say 3rd week of the season when they took care of Avon Lake. You've got Wadsworth, who's having a great year. There are so many good teams at the top there in Division II, Region 6.
It's just really competitive ball. And, for these two teams in front of us, they each sit in their divisions in a really competitive spots. I mean, Keystone, that Division 5 region they're in, there's a lot of good teams in there. They were even able to pull an upset on a team in that last year. And that's what you're also going to get with these 1 to 12 and anywhere in that, any of the seeding that might meet up in the middle of that. You could have a double-digit seed make a little bit of a run because they're just that strong in some of these spots.
Yeah, Keystone's got some really tough teams in their region, no doubt about that. And you take a look at Clearview and what they've got. There's just so much that has to go right for you in order to get in. Shelby's at the top of Division 4, Region 14. The Whippets at 9-0 on the season, 8-1 line. Galleon's 8-1 also. So there are just so many really good teams in each region. We're all set to begin the second half of action. Brendan Hagerman's kickoff will bounce at about the 21-yard line, and it'll be picked up by Jermel Wilson. He takes a pop at the end of the play. Shane Knoll with the big stick near the 28-yard line to get this second half going.
Well, big plays, big hits, all that. It runs in the old family of Keystone, and that's why he is taking home a player of the game on our network of channels earlier this year, and I'm sure that was just the beginning of what he expects to be a big second half.
Clearview begins the drive at their own 28-yard line. Again, they've been able to move the ball tonight, just have not been able to get those drives to result in points. Cam Williams is going to run it, takes it straight up the middle, past the 30 he goes, and he's tackled at the 32.
And he wasn't really able to find much room in that first half outside of a 10-yard run that he had on a crucial third down play. But outside of that, he's been bottled up. I don't know how much longer Keystone can manage that, but right now they're doing a pretty good job at containing him.
7 yards of carry coming in with 10 trips to the end zone on the ground. They'll hand it off to Antilli. He's hit by Ole at the 35-yard line, and Ole saw to it that he got no further than the 35, so a short gain. 3rd down and 3 coming up for the Clippers.
And this situation right here kind of leads into what we were talking about at halftime. The run lanes have been a lot more condensed for Clearview, and it's made 3rd and short situations like this a lot tougher to deal with. I know the running and keeping the ball on the ground out of the air, it's their MO, but one of these times I have to imagine they'll try to catch Keystone off guard and maybe put in the air, give the option at least.
They've got a man going in motion toward the far side. It's Nate Christensen. They'll set him up in the slot. Williams will keep it, trying to turn the corner. He gets awfully close to a first down. He went down close to the 39, and he's got enough to tell that Chain King to move forward 10 yards. They get just enough to move the sticks as they get 4 yards on 3rd down. But again, the start of the drive really hasn't been the problem for Clearview to this point.
And that's what's interesting is, it's a positive sign to see 3rd and short or possibly a 4th and short get the chains moved, but it doesn't matter until you're deep into the red zone like they have been.
Christian Stevenson and Tristan Antilli both in the backfield. They give to Antilli. Sets up for a pass. He's got Turner wide open down the field inside the 30, and he's tackled at the 28-yard line. A trick play and a double pass. Braden Turner makes the catch of the pass from Antilli. And they're just inside the 30-yard line, 1st down and 10.
What a big play there, and it just looked like your typical read option right there. And because it took so long to get Antilli the ball, that gave Molina plenty of time to set up down the field, sneak past that Keystone secondary.
Well, he got slammed at the end of the play. Turner was a little slow to get up. Comes off to the near side, and it looks like he's okay. They'll spot the ball at the 27-yard line. Williams on the keeper. He'll run right up the middle along the hash. He got inside the 25 to the 23. Well, he got a couple of bodies for a second there to kind of freeze and bite on that fake give to Antilli, and that bought him some extra room to work with.
And that may not have been in a traditional sense the pass I was looking for, but just little things like that open up the game, and it really, that 2nd and 3rd level now has to keep that in mind moving forward.
It's a 5-yard gain on first down. Nose of the ball resting at the 22-yard line. Clearview moving the ball down the field. They give to Antilli again. Works his way inside the 20-yard line. He's close to a first down. Looks like he might be just a little bit shy. They'll spot him down at the 18. 3rd down and 1.
In this spot right here, not their last drive of the half that ended around midfield when they were in hurry-up mode, but the one before it, this is where that drive came to an end. So you kind of want to break through that and get that out of your head here.
3rd and 1 at the 18-yard line. Williams will come up under center. Got a bit of an offset eye here with Antilli, the tailback. They'll give it to Stevenson. He plunges straight forward. He's got first down yardage. He's tackled at the 14. First carry of the game for Christian Stevenson. The senior at 5'7", 200 pounds, ran right through the middle of that defense to pick up the first down.
Yeah, very well-timed change of pace kind of play right there. We've seen some QB sneaks and some dives, but to go under center and give it to essentially the fullback, Keystone hasn't had to try to stop that yet. Right there, they couldn't.
Coming up on the 8th play of the drive. Same formation. They're going to give it to Stevenson again, and this time he is wrestled down. Just didn't have anywhere to go. Kyle Naylor grabbed a hold of him and just never let him go. He gets to about the 11, picking up a couple of yards.
And this is a spot where they can keep hammering away at the interior, maybe on a 3rd or 4th down upcoming. You can see Cam Williams sneak out and be able to move the chains for this Clippers offense.
They said he got to the 10. So a 3-yard gain, 2nd down and 7. And this time it'll be a keeper. No, they're going to pitch it outside to Antilli. He broke 1 tackle, and he's tackled at the 5. Antilli picks up right around 4, so it'll be 3rd down and 3. They can get a first down before getting into the end zone. They have to get to about the 3-yard line.
And a lot of these setup plays, that's what's opening up a pitch like that and catching the Keystone defense off guard.
3rd and 3 at the 6. Williams under center again. The ball's on the turf. It's picked up by Williams. He was able to get to it very quickly, and a number of Wildcats are there to greet him at the 9-yard line.
We don't see them go under center too often. We have tonight because there's been a lot of short yardage spots, or they're trying to turn it to the power run game. But that's a symptom of that if you're not used to the traditional eye and trying to hand it off that way. Normally it's the read, and for some that's more difficult, but those guys do it way more often than the traditional handoffs.
4th and 6 at the 9. Can they come through on 4th down and get a drive to finish in points? It'll be both Christian Stevenson and Tristan Antilli in the backfield. Now we've got whistles and a timeout called by Clearview to go over the plan of attack with 6:08 to play here in the 3rd quarter. We'll keep this one here because this is a pretty big play coming up. And Max, we've said it a lot, but this has been an issue for Clearview tonight. And I think part of that is because this is really where Clearview, or I should say Keystone, has been able to anchor down here and just not allow Clearview to get that first down when they need it most.
Yeah, and it's interesting because with the field condensing, that normally hurts teams that have prominent passing attacks. That's not necessarily the case for Clearview. So the fact that Keystone's been able to capitalize even more so in these red zone situations, it's even more impressive. And for Clearview, they've been able to shake things up a little bit and throw some things that Keystone hasn't seen yet. So got to believe that comes out here in this situation. And, you're looking at 4th and 6 from the 9, so they could even try to set it up where they end up inside the 5 without scoring, and takes a little less pressure off. If it was 4th and goal from the 9, that's a way different situation here.
Well, can this Keystone defense come up with another big stop? 4th down and 6 at the Keystone 9. Cam Williams works out of the shotgun. 3 receivers at his disposal. Takes the snap, throws across the middle, and it's intercepted by Shane Ohl. Ohl will take it past the 10-yard line. He's tripped up, and he goes down at the 15. Shane Ohl with a big pick, and that's the first turnover of the game for the Keystone defense.
They try to surprise Keystone with a quick-hitting slant route right there over the middle, but Ohl had just sat down at that defensive line. Looked like he was maybe going to be in a spy at first, and then he didn't even have a chance to react to a run because Williams threw it so quickly, and he's waiting there right for the pick.
Ole had his fingerprints all over both the beginning and the end of that drive. He had a big pop on the kickoff return at the very beginning of it, and then the interception to end it. This drive begins at their own 16-yard line. They give it to McKee. McKee able to get just along the numbers to about the 21. So he gets about 5 yards on that.
And he continues to just keep finding yards that shouldn't be there or really aren't there. And it's taken a lot of pressure off of Colton Cowling and the rest of this offense tonight.
Cowling with a touchdown rush and a touchdown pass so far for the Wildcats. And they don't ask him to put the ball in the air a whole lot. Takes the low snap, and he'll give it to McKee. Room to run on the outside, and he goes out of bounds. Tough to tell from here where exactly he stepped out. The official on the far sideline said he stepped out of the 29. That's another first down.
You know, obviously this being our first Keystone game, we haven't had too many chances to see them on film, but it's interesting to see how often they turn to McKee as a blocker in these run situations.
Keystone used a little bit of tempo on their last offensive drive of the first half. They'll give it to McKee again. Nothing there initially, and it'll take a host of Clippers to bring him down at the 31-yard line, and they did a really good job of getting to him before he could get going.
Yeah, the defensive line has had a lot more success when they've been able to keep him inside the tackles, so to speak. As soon as he's been able to bounce it or make some jump cuts towards the perimeter, that's where this Clearview defense has gotten in trouble.
2nd down and 8. At their own 31-yard line, inside of 5 minutes to go on this third quarter clock. Cowling going to keep this one and run to his left, and he's stopped in the backfield back at the 25-yard line. It was Montez Sanchez-Miller and Manny Moore who combined for the stop, and he'll lose 7 yards on that.
And because of the fact that was just a straight quarterback sweep, there's no screen to keep an eye, nothing that those defensive linemen had to worry about. They pinned their ears back. Force a 3rd and very long to go here.
They've got to get just inside the 38-yard line. So it's 3rd down and 14. And now Cowling looking to that far sideline, getting the instructions from his coaching staff. He'll stare down at that left forearm and wait on the snap. He's going to roll out to the far side, surveying the field. He'll fire across the middle, and it's caught by Caleb Scott, but he's well short of first down yardage. Cam Williams stopped him at the 35-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th down.
It looked like Scott had been open for a few yards, but Cowling trying to escape that pressure, he wasn't able to get eyes over there. And in that situation, I'm sure the coaching staff may have even felt, hey, just hang on to that one, throwing it as late as he did over the middle. But either way, it ends in a stop for Clearview here.
Kyle Turley on the punt. This is our first punt attempt of the game. A good snap sent back to him. Turley gets this kick away. Williams retrieves it at the 35-yard line, trying to get around the edge on the far side, and he's tackled at the 40-yard line. Great job by that coverage team of Keystone to get to him quickly and never really give him a chance to get out in open space.
Yeah, we haven't had the chance to see him outside of the, I believe it was the first kickoff after Keystone scored, where he got his hands on the ball. Since then, it's really just had to make it work on offense and defense, which for Williams, that's still more than enough to impact this game.
And usually on those line drive kicks, that got to the returner so quickly, you kind of thought that the return team didn't have enough time to get down there, but they were on them quickly.
That's for sure.
So good field position for Clearview. They start this drive at their own 40-yard line, still down 13-0 with 3:11 to go in the third. Williams will have 4 receivers to work with, 3 on the near side. He fires to Turner, makes the catch in the flat, plows his way up past the 45-yard line. He's tackled at the 50-yard line. And we do have some laundry on the field, a flag at the 46-yard line, and it's a face mask going against Keystone.
And to start the game, we saw Keystone's offense use some screens like that, short passes, and let their guys make plays after the catch. That's something Clearview may have to take a page out of their book, because they've got plenty of them to use. And it'll take a little pressure off that offensive line trying to hold up and pass pro. And And right there, you see the fighting for extra yards from Turner, and a lot more than they were expecting.
The result of the play was a 10-yard pickup. They tack on 15 more to spot the ball to the Keystone 35. Williams will come up under center again. The give goes to Antilli. Antilli tries the middle, and he gets a bear hug before being taken down by Shane Old.
And they continue to try to keep Keystone honest with this rushing attack and this interior with the under center looks. And, you know, it's been good enough to get them down the field, but it hasn't helped them finish drives to this point. So we'll see if they shake it up the closer they get to the goal line.
2nd down and 7 after that 3-yard gain. Williams rolling out to the right. He's in some trouble. He'll throw toward the sideline, and the pass is caught right around the 25. That's close to where they had to get for a first down, and I think they got just enough. It's Fabian Molina who made the catch. Actually, check that. It's Kudo Grant who makes the catch, and it's just enough again to move the sticks.
It's plays like that with Williams extending it, and those are far throws he's been having to make out near the sideline, and most of the time he's been able to hit them on the money.
Got it at the 24. Again, they've been able to get to this point tonight, trying to get their first points of the contest, still down 13-0. They'll send Lentilli out in motion to the near side. Williams going to run this, takes it straight up the gut, and he stopped at the 25.
And despite 3 different Clippers being at the bottom of your screen there was only 2 Keystone Wildcats, so even despite the pump fake, that Wildcat front 7 stayed home, and it made Williams pay the price. That was a big hit.
Got just inside the 21-yard line, so he picks up a few on that. 2nd down and 7 coming up. Keystone wasn't full, but them sending Antilli in motion to the near side. Williams rolls out to the near side, throws, and the pass is caught by Turner, but he is stopped immediately after making the catch. It was Bobby Gurich who slowed him down and just never let him get loose. And we have an injured player down on the field, and I believe that's Braden Turner. So we'll step aside and take this timeout as well. With 48 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, Keystone 13, Clearview nothing on the Lorain County Sports Network. Braden Turner hobbles off the field to the near sideline. 3rd down and 3 coming up from the 19-yard line of Keystone. Clearview on the move, trying to get their first points of the game. They'll send Christian Stevenson out in motion to the right. They'll set up a screen to the near side. The pass is caught by Antilli. He's inside the 10, inside the 5, reaches for the pylon, and he's going to be stopped just short. They say he went out near the 3-yard line. They pick up a big first down, setting up 1st and goal.
What a beautiful play design there to take advantage of some of the pressure that Keystone had been applying in the passing game. And the offensive line, they had nobody to touch for about the first 5 or 6 yards down the field. That's how well it was sold, and Lentilli does the rest, set them up 1st and goal.
1st and goal, just inside the 4. 32 ticks left on this 3rd quarter clock. Keystone leads 13-0. Williams under center. They're going to hand this one off to Stevenson. He spins his way. He's close. He's in for the touchdown. They give it to Christian Stevenson. He's able to plunge straight forward, spinning his way into the end zone. And that'll make it 13-6 with 26 seconds left.
And Stevenson, you listed his measurables earlier. Obviously, he's one of the better power backs up front. And typically I describe him as a bowling ball right there. He puts some spin on it down the lane and finishes striking into the end zone.
Mikkel Damgaard on for the extra point to try and make this a 6-point game. Extra point has plenty of distance, and he splits the uprights to make it 13-7. 26 ticks left in the third quarter. It's live and free tonight on YouTube on our Lorain County Sports Network. Clearview's first scoring drive, 6 plays, 60 yards. A 3-yard touchdown rush for Christian Stevenson, and that makes it 13-7 with 26 seconds left before we get to the end of this third quarter. What a great one this has turned out to be between Keystone and Clearview in the final week of the regular season. Mikkel Damgaard will tee it up at the 40-yard line. Keystone has 3 back deep to receive it. Damgaard will kick this away. High kick, end over end, bounces at the 15-yard line. That will go out of bounds. So it'll be a procedure penalty. And this Keystone offense will go to work here to try and see if they can't get back on track. Now, yeah, Keystone, well, a lot like Clearview. They've been able to move the ball tonight, but so far, only 13 points.
Yeah, there's been a few instances where they've been able to make their way down the field, but whether it's a turnover or an untimely tackle for loss, it's helped keep Clearview in this game.
Colton Colley leads the charge from the 35-yard line after that procedure penalty. Wyatt McKee has been pretty electric tonight, as he's been all season long. Zach Taylor also in the backfield with Colley. He takes an awkward snap, and he's going to get hit back at the 31-yard line. A name that we've said a ton tonight, Montez Sanchez-Miller, with a big tackle for a loss. Right now, that's a 4-yard setback. And our head referee, Tim Dyke, coming to the near side to talk to Clearview head coach Cody Kaya to see what this penalty's all about.
Well, the last few times we've seen Cowling as a ball carrier, he's had lead blockers. Right there, he didn't in the bobble or the hesitation on that snap. Really, you can't have that against this defensive line, and they show you why right there.
The penalty was a hold against Keystone. It was declined. So it's 2nd down and 14. Clock stops with 21 seconds left. And now they'll run it as Keystone is at the line. And it sure seems like they want to get at least one more playoff here before the end of this third quarter. Play clock down to 12. Colley fires out left side, caught by Taylor in the flat. Makes a move to the inside. Makes another man miss as he works his way outside. He's knocked out of bounds on the far side. And he went out right around the 48. Actually checked that, they'll spot him down at the 47. And that's more than enough for a first down. And that will take us to the end of the third quarter. It's Keystone 13, Clearview 7 at the end of 3 on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. It's live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. All set to begin the fourth quarter with Keystone leading Clearview 13-7 on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Glad to bring this one to you live and free on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bull Barch and Max Drummond on the call for you. Edwin Vereen, our director, Sam Sovacool working the camera. Keystone has the ball, first down and 10 to start this fourth quarter at their own 47-yard line. Colling fakes the give to McKee. Turns around and he rolls to the right, throws it down the field. The pass is caught at about the 40-yard line for a first down. He completes that to Brendan Hagerman, and they will move the chain gang on a big pitch and catch to start the fourth quarter.
After having a few seconds to process that, I still don't understand how he fit that ball into that window right there, especially while on the run with Brody Wacker chasing him down. What a throw.
Keystone started this drive at their own 35-yard line. They're just a few plays into it, and now all of a sudden working with just a 6-point lead. Colling fires this one down the field, looking for Hagerman, makes the catch in stride, and he takes it into the end zone. Touchdown. Actually, check that. That was not Hagerman. That was Caleb Scott who made the catch. A 40-yard touchdown pass to Caleb Scott. And all of a sudden, Keystone's on top 19-7 with 11:23 to play.
So at the end of the third quarter, obviously they hit a quick screen pass, get up the field, and get some yards out of it. I was interested to see how aggressive they got to open the fourth quarter. You know, you're holding a possession lead, and maybe you want to cut into the clock a little bit, take some rhythm out of Clearview's offense. Instead, they go to the air back-to-back plays, and they get down the field and score in that many.
They're going to keep the offense on the field and try and go for two here to make it 21-7. What a pass by Colton Colling. Put that right on the money. He's rolling out to his right. He'll throw this one towards the back of the end zone, knocked away, incomplete. The two-point conversion is no good, so it's 19-7 still. Keystone on top of Clearview, 11:23 to play in the fourth quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Keystone goes to the air, and on 4 plays, they're able to drive 65 yards down the field on a drive where they put the ball on the ground just once, and the end result, the 40-yard touchdown pass from Colton Colling to Caleb Scott. Now they lead 19-7 with just over 30 seconds gone from this fourth quarter clock. Brendan Hagerman has it teed up at the 40-yard line. Jamel Wilson and Cam Williams back deep to receive this for Clearview. Hagerman kicks it away. Williams will make the catch at about the 20-yard line. He's able to take it out past the 30-yard line, finds a seam in the middle of the field. Now he makes a cut to the outside. He's off to the races. He gets to the 40. Hagerman slows him down. And another outstanding return. Cam Williams shot right through the middle, made a nice cut to get to the outside. And here again, good field position for Clearview.
Yeah, that return had a bit of everything, like you said, from the cut, the burst, and then the patience to try and let some blockers set up for him, and gets great field position here.
And unfortunately, Cam Williams slow to get up here at the end of the play, trying to get back to his feet. Now, Brendan Turner, as we mentioned earlier, took a vast majority of the snaps early in the season before they made that quarterback switch. He was dinged up a little bit earlier tonight.
That he was, and if they do choose to go to him here, obviously, it was his first season getting some real varsity action at the start of the year. Now he's had a few weeks under his belt to get acclimated to the Friday night level. It's obviously very different than what he was dealing with, whether it was on freshman or junior varsity last year. And now being in that role at receiver, maybe that's kind of helped him guide his way a bit here on these Friday nights.
They're still working on him at the 40-yard line. And we did see Turner trot out of the field near the 45, so it looks like he will have to take at least a snap here as Cam Williams will get up quickly and come off to the near side.
Looks like Turner may be staying in his receiver role, to our surprise.
And they may be running out of the Wildcat here. Now, Tristan Antilli has also taken some snaps at quarterback, and they'll run him out of the shotgun here. He's got Xavier Ricks off to his left, Stevenson off to his right. It's a keeper. Antilli takes it straight up the middle, and he's able to push the pile up to about the 35-yard line, and they finally whistled this thing dead after about a 5-yard gain.
And that's just a great way for your offense to have that mentality of we're still going to make it happen. I have a feeling the entire Keystone defense knew what to expect there, and they still weren't able to slow it down as well as they'd like. May see a bit more of that.
Antilli ready to take the snap again. This time just Stevenson with him in the backfield in a 3-receiver look. Antilli will give it to Stevenson. Breaks one tackle, gets inside the 35, lowers his shoulder, and he's able to get close to a first down. He got near the 30. I think he's going to be just a little bit shy.
And he's the perfect guy to give the ball to right now. He's got to have the freshest legs in that backfield going against a Keystone defense that has spent a lot of time out there, even if the scoreboard for somebody just joining may not reflect that. Clearview has had the ball in time of possession a lot in this game.
3rd down and short. Antilli grabs a low shotgun snap. He's got the first down, and he's able to get up to the 24-yard line. They needed a half a yard. They end up with 6 on 3rd down.
And the confidence continues to grow on this drive, and just that nasty mentality you need for an offensive line, especially in a game like this. They're showing off that strength right now.
They've got the ground game working on this drive. Just over 9.5 minutes left in this one. 19-7. Keystone leading Clearview. Antilli on a keeper again. Tries the left side. He got hit by Bobby Gurich and stopped at the 22. He's able to pick up a couple, though, setting up 2nd down.
And they've been able to do a good job here to keep the offense not only afloat, but to continue moving into opposing territory. And it appears Cam Williams may be getting ready to come back in the next couple plays.
Antilli has been able to handle the load here on this drive at the beginning of it anyways. Stevenson off to his right, and 3 receivers at his disposal. Antilli going to pass. He fires left side incomplete, looking for Braden Turner, but Turner was not expecting that pass.
Yeah, a little bit of a dangerous play happening right there, and obviously those two haven't really had to connect at all throughout the season, and they've just been a miscommunication from where he was going to set up, where Turner was going to set up and stop his route at.
3rd and 7 scenario. They've got the ball at the 26-yard line. Cam Williams is back in the equation here. Antilli off his right side. They'll roll out to the near side. Surveying the field, throws right, has a man open. And it's caught just inside the 15-yard line. It's taken down to about the 11-yard line. It's Kudo Grant, who's been on the receiving end of a number of big grabs here tonight.
And it's in the perfect spots. He's setting up his route and just kind of waiting in the flats or right in that 10-yard hitch range. And on these rollouts where Cam Williams is keeping plays alive, he's been able to dump it down to him. He's really been a good safety blanket.
Grant Kudo, just a sophomore, 6 feet tall, 160 pounds. But he's played a big role in tonight's game for sure. 1st and 10 at the 12. Williams will keep it, takes it up the middle, tripped up, and goes down near the 8.
And you can tell that's a senior playing on senior night, week 10. He's gotten through it right now. Whatever the injury may have been that forced him to miss the start of this drive, but you can tell a guy like that does not want to come out of the game at any point tonight.
Terrific kickoff return by Cam Williams. Gave them great field position at the Keystone 40. 2nd down and 6 at the 8. Williams will give to Antilli. Antilli pounds his way straight forward. He's close, and he's just shy of the goal line. He's marked down at the 1. 1st and goal for Clearview.
I thought he may have been able to put the hand down and extend, but the officials right along the line there at the goal line. Not otherwise.
It'll be a keeper. It's taken straight up the gut. No signal yet. Now we've got one. He's in for the touchdown. And I think everybody kind of knew the second that ball was snapped back to Williams, he was not going to be denied. He punches it in from 1 yard out. And now it's 19-13 with just inside of 8 minutes to play.
And how that play went, that summarizes the entire drive. Just a gritty performance from everybody there on that offensive line, the receivers, and all the running backs that got to touch the ball there. Great way to finish it off and come back from that touchdown Keystone got.
Whistles early, and someone moved early for Clearview. So that'll make this point after attempt a little more difficult on Mikkel Damgard. Just a sophomore, 6 feet, 185-pounder. Came into this game 17 for 20 on his point after attempts.
And even moving back here a little bit because of the missed extra points and 2-point conversion fail by Keystone, it takes a little pressure off here. Even if you don't, you're still within 6.
And the extra point is blocked. It was deflected at the line, so the extra point is no good. Keystone 19, Clearview 13, 7:53 left of the 4th quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Moments ago, a 40-yard drive comes to an end and a 1-yard touchdown rush from Cam Williams to make it 19-13. Clearview down 6 to Keystone with 7:53 to play in this one. A game with big playoff implications for both sides. Mikkel Damgard ready to kick it away. And this will bounce to the 25-yard line. It goes inside the 10, and it's picked up by Wyatt McKee. He had trouble handling it, and he's able to take it up the middle of the field. He's tackled right around the 31-yard line. He somehow picked up 20 yards on that return, despite the fact that it bounced a few times, and then he picked it up, and he had to juggle it a bit, and still found a way to get 20 yards on that return.
Yeah, the way Damgard was able to aim that ball kind of away from any particular Wildcat. It was a nice way to bounce back for him after the previous kickoff. And still, with a guy like McKee's athleticism, sometimes you can play it just right. It still has no effect.
Last time Keystone had the ball, they went to the air a lot. Now with a 6-point lead, with just inside of 8 minutes, we've got movement. And right now, Clearview is pointing at Keystone. Somebody moved early for the Wildcats. That'll cost them 5.
Somebody on that interior offensive line, they saw maybe some movement, like a stunt coming, and just couldn't hold their water long enough.
Well, now Cowling will have Hurley with him in the backfield along with McKee. They'll give this one straight up the middle, taken up to about the 26. And a good job by that Keystone defensive front. I'm just making sure there was nowhere to go. There was Zach Taylor on the carry. And we don't see McKee out there. It's Taylor, the running back. They've got 4 receivers, 3 lined up on the near side.
You got to wonder after the physicality of last drive, maybe giving McKee a chance to get a breather here.
Cowling looks to his left, throws left, caught by Hurley in the flat. He's up to the 30-yard line. He's tackled along the near sideline, and they'll spot him down at about the 38, setting up 3rd down and 2.
And with McKee being out, that's going to fall on other guys to step up. Hurley only had 1 catch coming into the season. Right there, he gets more on that than the yardage he had coming into tonight. So different guys going to have to step up in key spots. They do it right there.
And they do bring McKee back into the game here on 3rd down and short. So he was able to get a blow for a couple of plays anyways. Cowling calls for the snap. He gets it. It'll be a keeper. After he faked the give to Taylor, he gets close to the 40, and the initial spot is going to have him short of the 40-yard line, bringing up 4th down.
Well, he held on to that football for as long as he could in the read stage, and it still didn't buy him enough time to get away from that defensive front. And now, on your own half of the field, I wonder if they roll the dice here, if Coach Griswold wants to keep his offense out there.
Keystone has all 3 of their timeouts left. Clearview has 2. We're inside of 6 minutes. Keystone's going to milk this clock here, and I think they're going to call for time as the play clock is now all the way inside of 5. And Coach Griswold wants to talk this over. He'll do that as they burn a timeout. We'll keep it here. 5:46 to play in this game. We thought this would be a good one. It has turned out to be a terrific one so far, and a huge 4th down scenario coming up here.
Yeah, thanks to the Clearview offense, they were given some more life, a nice jolt of energy, and now this defense playing the way they have in the second half, it's getting this crowd pretty fired up. I mean, outside of the 1 deep ball, we've really seen Keystone struggle to keep their drives going consistently.
The deep ball was a 40-yard touchdown pass from Colton Cowling to Caleb Scott. And this Clearview defensive line, just very, very impressive. And they do rotate some guys in. The starters were Montez Sanchez Miller, Manny Moore, Zach Young, Brody Wacker. And all 4 of those guys have had a big impact on this one.
Yeah, we've seen them each make plays, and right now on this 4th and short, senior Anthony Lockman is in there in the middle with Manny Moore. So if you're Keystone, I would do everything I can to avoid that here on this 4th down attempt.
Offense comes back out onto the field for Keystone. McKee, the deep back. They've got Olin as a fullback here. Cowling will grab the snap. They give to McKee. Breaks a tackle. He's got the 1st down as he's able to get to the outside. Breaks another tackle, and the Clippers finally get to him at the 49. Wyatt McKee would not be denied on 4th down as he picks up about 10 yards to move the sticks.
And that one hurts if you're Clearview. I mean, you had it schemed up right. You had a guy free in the backfield, almost got a hand on, then somebody right at the line of scrimmage. McKee may still have gotten it, but would have been a lot closer and tougher call for the officials to make, and he breaks out of both of them.
McKee was just relentless. Had to make a man miss to get to the corner, then he made 2 more guys miss before getting to the 49. And now they can milk some clock here. They'll give to McKee again, but this time he's tackled in the backfield. There was nowhere for him to go. Zach Young wrapped him up and dropped him for a loss.
Young redeems himself right there on that play. Loss of 2, and honestly, I haven't been able to say that too often. I think it's just the 3rd time McKee's been caught in the backfield. Not too many can get him down before the line of scrimmage.
Lost a couple on the play. 2nd down and 12. Now inside of 5 minutes to play. Both teams armed with a pair of timeouts. Play clock inside of 10. And now we're down to 4.5 minutes left. Cowling will put the pieces in place. We've got whistles and a timeout called by Keystone head coach Don Griswold. We'll take this timeout as well. Keystone 19, Clearview 13 with 4:26 to play on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming out of the Keystone timeout, 2nd down and 12 for the Wildcats at their own 47-yard line. Play clock was inside of 3. They didn't have their guys aligned where they wanted. They had to burn a timeout. They'll give to McKee again. McKee is hit. He's somehow able to emerge from the pile and get outside, and he makes his way up to the Clearview 45-yard line. That is a big 6-yard pickup where it looked like he was dropped for no gain.
Yeah, and still have no idea how he's able to get out of some of these piles. I mean, I believe it was Manny Moore who was able to get his hands on him, and I don't know if maybe the cast, he wasn't able to get a good grasp, but either way, not too many get away from him.
And that makes this a 3rd and 5 scenario where at first, again, it looked like he was bottled up in the backfield with nowhere to go. Inside of 4 minutes to play now. Play clock down to 5. Cowling looking at his forearm. 2 seconds to go, calling for the snap. He gets it. He's going to keep it himself. Running out to the near side. He gets knocked down in the backfield. Here's a name we've said a lot tonight. Montez Sanchez Miller with a huge tackle for a loss. And that sets up 4th down and a long ways for Keystone to go.
And he made that play for himself. It looked like he was going to force it to bounce outside, but he takes on the lead blocker, and not only the offensive lineman, but Wyatt McKee, who was supposed to be blocking Cam Williams. And that entire play blown up by number 4.
So timeout called for by Clearview head coach Cody Ikea after making that big 3rd down stop. So now you have over 3 minutes left on this clock. And after a punt here, barring something unforeseen or totally unexpected, they're going to have a little ways to go here on this drive. But they've got a fighting chance here. And dare I say, this second half has kind of worked out much like the second half of the season has for Clearview.
Yeah, they've been able to just keep chipping away. And because of how steady their offense has been here, it's given their defense some time to recuperate. And obviously there's a couple guys that play both ways, but Keystone's offense has been off the field more, and they really haven't been able to find any kind of rhythm as Clearview's clearly taken the battle to them.
Cam Williams has dropped back inside his own 20-yard line to receive this punt from Wyatt McKee, who's standing at his own 35-yard line, ready to send this away. They'll send the snap back to McKee, and he gets this punt off. A really good-looking punt. High, end over end. Williams will call for a fair catch, and he makes it right around the 17-yard line. Was there anything Wyatt McKee can't do? That was a really good-looking punt.
Yeah, we've got a lot of versatile guys in the game tonight, and he leads the pack with that as number 1 kicks it over to number 1, who also you can say the same about with Williams. And very glad they're both going to be on the field here as with 2 timeouts to work with, and we'll check that. Just 1 timeout. Excuse me, I thought there was one or more than one. So they'll have to manage their time a little bit here and probably see a little bit more pace than we have from them throughout the game, but got a puncher's chance.
Right now the difference in this one, a 40-yard touchdown pass to Caleb Scott. But Clearview has scored the last 2 touchdowns in this game. Pass goes near side of Braden Turner. Turner's knocked out of bounds on the near sideline. A flag comes flying in. And that's going to be a late hit against Keystone. So they spotted him down at the 28-yard line. That was a pickup of just about 10 yards. They'll tack on 15 more, so that's going to put the ball at the 43-yard line.
It's a picture-perfect start to the drive. Fires up this crowd a bit, and it's been throws like that throughout this second half by Cam Williams that have really been some chain movers and keeping the drives going at a steady pace.
Well, what a game this has turned out to be. Williams on a keeper. Tries the middle, and he's corralled at the 45, maybe the 46-yard line. Jack Bolton, one of the first ones there to slow him down.
And in this situation, that's a perfectly fine play call to go with. Keep in mind, you're going for the tie and point after, so it's not like you need multiple scores or you're worried about possibly having to get the ball back again after you score here. They get under 2:40 remaining.
Williams rolling out to his left, surveying the field. The pass is caught right around the 42-yard line. He was able to complete that to Fabian Molina, and they're inside Keystone territory again.
And a slightly dangerous throw. Shane Ohl was kind of lurking underneath, but because Williams put so much zip on that, he didn't have a chance to go knock it down or even try to pick it.
Both teams have turned the ball over once tonight. Interceptions from both Cam Williams and Shane Ohl. Williams is going to keep this one. He gets popped at the 41-yard line. Well, speaking of Shane Ohl, there he is. Same old story from him. Comes through with a really big hit right on cue, limiting Williams to a gain of 1.
Yeah, you could say that again. And we talked about versatility with McKee before. Right there, he's in coverage and just comes up short of being able to make a play on the ball right there. He lays the wood in the running game. He can do it all.
2nd down and 9 coming up. Pressure coming. Williams gets away from it, throws it to the near side. A sliding catch is made at the 31-yard line by Braden Turner. Braden Turner, another big catch. He got to the 32-yard line, and that's enough to move the sticks.
Heads up play, and what a great catch.
Clock continues to tick inside of a minute 20. They'll give it to Antilli. Room to run up the middle, and he's tackled at the 27.
And we're seeing a great pace from this offense right now, and that's the luxury of being a couple weeks into this. What at first was an experiment, now being your full-time quarterback, he's more than comfortable handling this offense.
Both teams again with just one timeout. Williams rolls out to the left. He's got a man open. It's Grant Cudo, and he steps out of bounds on the far sideline. He's inside the 20. Another first down.
The Keystone coaching staff, they're emphasizing to their players, you got to get out there and cover the flat. That's where Cam Williams and these receivers have been really doing their damage.
Just inside to the 20-yard line of the 19. Here's where Grant Cudo got. Well, Cudo's had his number called a lot here tonight. 1 minute left in this one. Cam Williams in the shotgun, throwing to the right, and the pass is caught on the near side by Turner. He's knocked out of bounds, and I think they're going to spot him down at the 16-yard line. So they pick up 3.
And you can tell Keystone, they're just looking to defend the end zone here. They're giving up a lot of this underneath stuff, but it may add up to enough to bite them here and give up the score. It's still 54 seconds and a timeout left. Clearview can, they want, use the middle of the field here. They don't have to go to the sideline, but that's where they've been most comfortable so far.
And Tilly off the left tip of Williams. Williams looking down the field, fires, and the pass is caught by Molina. Molina, but he's corralled by Bobby Gurich right along the numbers at the 13-yard line, kept him in bounds. And I believe we have a timeout called by Clearview. That was a really nice tackle made by Bobby Gurich. Kept him in bounds, forcing them to call that timeout with 3rd down coming up for Clearview.
Yeah, Gurich made all the difference on that play to keep some stress on Clearview right now. And it wasn't sure how that play was going to turn out at first. They wanted to roll left, but Kyle Hurley really cut off the lane for Williams to run through and force the quick throw. I think, obviously, that Clearview offense, they may have wanted to see that route develop a little bit more, but they had no choice.
Coming up on the 10th play of this drive, one that began back at their own 17-yard line. And Max, they have moved the ball very quickly on this drive.
Yeah, very efficiently. It was helped kick-started by a penalty by Keystone, and yeah, maybe a tough break for the Wildcats, but Clearview has capitalized on it and then some. And, you know, it's been a hot second half. Despite missing a few plays a couple drives ago, Cam Williams, he's on a bit of a streak right now with the completions. And some of them have been checkdowns, but they've been keeping these drives moving along here. And they're setting themselves up with a real chance here.
So it's 3rd and 4 at the Keystone 13-yard line. 19-13, Keystone leads, 44 seconds left. Williams looking to pass. The pass is tipped and almost intercepted. It went in and out of the hands of Zach Taylor at the 5-yard line, but it was deflected before it got to Taylor.
And that's a spot where everybody in the stadium holds their breath waiting to see how that comes out. And that Clearview very fortunate here. Also, the incompletion works in their favor, obviously, with the stop clock. And now at 4th down, even though you're out of timeouts, 40 seconds left, still enough time where you got to use the entire field to your advantage here. You don't have to feel like you need to go to the sideline. Just move the chains.
So it comes down to this. 4th and 4 for Clearview at the Keystone 13-yard line with 40 seconds left. Williams rolling out right, throws, the pass is caught at the 6-yard line by Turner. Turner gets the first down, but they've got to get to the line quickly. So it's first down and goal for Clearview. They've got to get to the line right away. And Cam Williams will spike it. We do have a flag back at the 5-yard line.
Well, to go back to the previous play, that was an outstanding job by Turner to come back to the ball. He was aggressive there. He didn't wait on it. If he did, that might have been broken up. We could be saying game over right about now. So he keeps the drive alive with an outstanding grab.
The officials will huddle at the 5-yard line to talk about this. On 4th down and 4, they complete the pass to Braden Turner. 7 yards in a play where they needed 4 to keep their hopes alive here.
Well, with how quickly they got to the line in this territory, you start to wonder if maybe there was one too many guys on the line of scrimmage, somebody flinching, but it's a pretty active discussion out there.
Well, you're right. Those are the usual culprits in a scenario like this where you're really trying to rush. And they're going to call all sides on Keystone. It doesn't cost them much, maybe a couple of yards, as they now have the ball between the 3 and 4 yard lines here. 35 seconds left.
You know, it also works as a timeout for Clearview, and you don't lose the down either.
So it'll be first down and goal. Ball just inside the 3. Williams keeps it, plunges right forward. He gets awfully close, and it looks like he's going to be shy. They'll spot him down at the 1 yard line. Clock continues to tick. Getting down to 25 seconds. Now we're inside of 20 seconds. Williams comes up to the line. Quarterback sneak. Williams gets across. He's in for the touchdown. Clearview scores with 14 seconds left to tie this game at 19 apiece. A 1 yard quarterback sneak for Cam Williams. And all of a sudden, Clearview is an extra point away from taking their first lead of the night.
This Clipper team, they've battled against the odds all season. One of the biggest upsets in the county all season last week. They're looking to make it 2 weeks in a row, and what a close to this season.
Mikkel Damgard on for the extra point. It has plenty of distance, and it is good. (20-19). Clearview hadn't led the entire night. They fell behind early on Keystone's opening drive. Wildcats had the lead until a few moments ago. An incredible drive. 12 plays, 83 yards, and they scored with 14 seconds left to take a 20-19 lead.
I mean, what more can you say about this Clippers group? They just continue to fight. They didn't get discouraged as things worked against them, and they made some mistakes. Came up short a few times throughout this game when it mattered most. Cam Williams and that offense finds a way to take the lead.
Don't forget who's back to receive this kickoff, though, for Keystone. Wyatt McKee can change things in a hurry. With only 14 seconds left, Keystone's going to have to hope for something special. Damgard ready to kick it off. He'll run forward, and this kick will go out of bounds. And that's the right decision. Why give a guy like McKee even a chance to try and turn things around?
Yeah, you weigh the pros and cons out there, and you know, even if they do start at the 40, the 35 range, they're still going to have to try to do that in 14 seconds. And because of some of the, I won't call them mistakes, but just trying to be more sure of themselves on offense, Keystone used some timeouts in that second half that maybe you wouldn't want to see, and now it's forced them to be a lot more careful, and they're also going to try to give McKee another chance.
Yeah, well, and this is the second time we've seen this this season. Teams with dynamic kickoff returners, they'll make you kick that off again.
Oh, boy.
So now they have to kick this off from the 35-yard line.
And why McKee? Just throwing this out there. He does have one return touchdown. It came on the Lorain County Sports Network when our other crew was covering them against Cloverleaf earlier in the season.
It's not a surprise. You know, Coach Griswold sees this like everybody else does. You want the ball in the hands of your best player, and Clearview's trying to make sure he doesn't get it. Yeah. And you can't just kick it out of bounds. And I think Coach Griswold is seeing to it that
they'll play that game all night if they have to.
Well, and you can only sacrifice that so much. You can only be pushed back so far. Damgard, a high end over end kick. McKee will retrieve it at about the 25-yard line. He's out to the 30, trying to stretch this play to the far side, has to turn it up the field, and he's tackled at the 40-yard line. That brought 8 seconds off the clock. And now Keystone with only one timeout to work with, down 20-19 and 6 seconds left on the clock. We'll have a shot at one last heave here.
Well, you got to wonder if they had a few more timeouts, maybe they would have taken the field position because they ended up about the same spot they had got anyway.
Sophomore quarterback Colton Cowling has been tested here tonight. 4 receivers to work with. He's got McKee behind him. Rolling out to his right. He heaves this one down the field. It won't have enough on it. Scott makes the catch, stays alive for a second, then he goes out of bounds as time expires. Scott made the catch somehow in traffic, and then he tightrope the far sideline, and he was forced out of bounds just inside the 10. Keystone nearly pulled that off. But the Clearview Clippers, a remarkable come-from-behind 20-19 win over the Keystone Wildcats in the 2025 regular season finale. Oh, what a ball game. The loss, in all likelihood, is going to end Keystone's playoff hopes, and the win for Clearview keeps their chances at getting into the postseason alive. Lots to wrap up on this one. We will step aside and take a timeout and come back on the postgame show to wrap things up with awards and much, much more. Keystone falls to the Clearview Clippers, 20-19. More to come after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. An absolute thriller here at Clearview. The Clippers pull off back-to-back stunners. They shocked the county with an upset win over the Columbia Raiders last week, sending shockwaves through the LC8 and beyond, and they do it again here tonight. In come-from-behind fashion, they defeat Keystone 20-19 in an unbelievable second half of the season, one we'll be talking about for a long time, Max.
Yeah, I mean, the stretch and the run they went on to close out this season, I mean, with everything that happened going into the season, the reward and the fulfillment these guys are going to get out of this, it's incredible. The senior class, I mean, we heard one of the the players as they're coming across for their senior night, they talk about the playoff win they had at Norway a couple of years ago, and that was a team with expectations. Like this team came out of nowhere down the stretch, and it's really commendable. They didn't quit, and that's also a testament to Coach Cody Kay in his first season.
Yeah, and look, there are a lot of things I think that can be said about the situation. I think it goes without saying that Clearview certainly got into things a little bit later than they would have liked with a new head coach, and Coach Kay had mentioned to us earlier in the week, too, look, we had a lot of positions that were undecided. We had a lot of things, period, that were undecided. It took us a few weeks to work through all of that, and we believe that was one of the reasons for our slow start to the season. But, boy, do they make up for that in a big way. In the second half of the season, they're able to put together an incredible run. Again, one we'll be talking about for quite some time. Take a look at the last 5 games of the year. They defeat Wellington 30-0. Fell to Firelands 9-7, a very tightly contested battle against a very good team, before blowing the doors off Brookside 41-6, doing more of the same against Oberlin 40-7. We talked about that upset win over Columbia last week, 27-21, and they shock Keystone here 20-19 in a game where they were down 13-0. They find a way to rally and come back in this thing, and at the very end of it, it's an outstanding drive. They needed a dozen plays to go 83 yards down the field, and it's a 1-yard quarterback sneak from Cam Williams that gets them into the end zone for the eventual game winner. This was one of those games you looked at on paper, you figured that it would be great, and it was more than great here tonight, my friend. This was a terrific game for us to be a part of.
Yeah, it lived up to the billing, and really, if this as Coach K gets a Gatorade, that's got to be cold in this weather. But if this team does, with the chips falling where they may, with the playoff standings, this is a team that I wouldn't want to have to go up against right now or face this kind of momentum. And, that's just the mentality of this team. It was on display all night, and I'm sure it will moving forward into next week.
And the way this second half went down, you figured someone was going to have their heart ripped out. So congratulations to the Keystone Wildcats. A great season, but this, in all likelihood, will squash their postseason chances. A season that ends on a very, very difficult note where they lose a game where they had been winning for 90% of it. I mean, they scored on their very first drive, and they led until there were 14 seconds left in this game. Defensively, they played really well in the first half. We talked about this ad nauseum in that first half about how Clearview continued to move the ball. They just couldn't finish their drives, and I think, Max, that was the biggest difference. In the second half, they did just that. They finished their drives.
They finished drives, and they also were able to set Keystone back a bit, get them behind schedule, and even though Keystone was able to pull out an incredible throw down the sideline for a score and what felt like was really going to be a gut punch that might knock this team over for Clearview, they just found a way to keep on pushing along, and Keystone wasn't able to recapture that at any point in the second half.
All right, we have awards to give away, but first we'll get you a quick scoring recap. We mentioned Keystone scored on the very first drive, a 10-yard touchdown rush by Colton Cowling to make it 7-0. They scored on their second drive. This time Cowling went through the air, finding Bobby Gurich on an 8-yard touchdown strike to make it 13-0. That was our count at the half. However, Keystone would surrender their first touchdown of the game, a 3-yard rush from Christian Stevenson. That made it 13-7. An intercept, or I should say the very next drive, was just a 4-play drive for Keystone, where surprisingly they didn't put the ball on the ground very often. As a matter of fact, they did it just once, and that was a negative play. They put the ball in the air. Their next 3 plays, the last leg of that was a 40-yard touchdown pass from Cowling to Caleb Scott to make it 19-7. But the next drive was a very good one. It was set up by a terrific kickoff return by Cam Williams. He got injured on that kickoff return. They went most of that drive without him, but he finished that drive on a 1-yard touchdown rush. That made it 19-13. They would force Keystone to punt the ball away. It was a really nice punt by Wyatt McKee. Williams had no chance to return it. Had a call for a fair catch at the 17-yard line, and then they put the drive of the night together. 12 plays, 83 yards, and with 14 seconds left, a 1-yard quarterback sneak from Cam Williams ended up being the difference. The extra point, we certainly can't forget about either, coming from Mikkel Damgard. He split the uprights to make it 20-19, and that's how this one ends. It wasn't easy, though, in those last 14 seconds. Wyatt McKee returned the kickoff to the 40-yard line. Keystone had one last heave. Cowling completed a pass on the far sideline to Caleb Scott. Scott was stopped just inside the 10, and that was an impressive catch in traffic.
Yeah, I mean, he had a Clearview defender going up top to try to get the balls well over his back, and I don't know how, one, he caught it, but then two, had the wherewithal to maintain his footing and almost tightrope the sideline. Just put the cap on a very exciting game with an exciting play.
Well, let's take a look at your final stats here, my friend. Our stats tonight and all season long brought to you by Al Januzzi CPA. It's all about the numbers with Al Januzzi CPA.
The guy that led the way and really kept them going, and he missed a couple plays in that second half, but as soon as he returned, he made his impact throughout the rest of the way. One Mr. Cam Williams, 17 of 20 through the air, 127 yards, and he also tacked on 2 rushing touchdowns. And I mean, there were several different receivers that made some impacts down the stretch there for Clearview, and then looking over at Keystone, I mean, it looked like they were on their way with some of these stats. Wyatt McKee, 18 for 88 as he closed out the season with 88 yards. And then Colton Cowling, I mean, he had 3 total touchdowns on the night, did have the 1 interception before halftime, and that, you know, that's one that's going to stick with him. But definitely still a strong showing from each offense at different points of the night.
Yeah, strong showing from both teams. These two teams always play incredibly good games. This one certainly no different. Well, award time. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the first time we've given the award to a exclusive defensive player this season. And it was a tough decision for us because Cam Williams is a guy we could have very easily given it to because he did have a couple of touchdown rushes in this game. Player of the game tonight is brought to you by Zabo Apparel Company. Be game day ready all year long with Zabo Apparel Company. Montez Sanchez Miller. Well, he was a force to be reckoned with. He had so many tackles for a loss coming into this game, and he added a big number to that here tonight. He was constantly in that Keystone backfield.
Yeah, he led the way for that defensive line, who was very much lauded by us coming into the game, and the stats back that up. And he obviously made an impact with some tackles for loss, but also just impacting what Keystone was trying to do, getting in the backfield, blowing plays up, even if he didn't finish with the tackle. And the senior, heavily deserving of that honor tonight.
Yeah, one of many honored before the game, and boy, Keystone Clearview having all kinds of fun celebrating at the 50-yard line. Look at these guys go. Boy, they deserve this. After the start to the season that they had, they close out unbelievably strong in a game, again, where they were down for most of it. They come back and they win it, taking down Keystone 20-19. Want to remind all of you out there watching this one to tune in to WOBL and WDLW for the Spitzer of Amherst post-game show. One last ride of the regular season for those guys back at the Radio Ranch. Johnny G, David Q, along with Paul Williams and John Guzik giving you the final scores and giving you a pretty good idea as to what that playoff picture is going to look like here in the final week of the regular season. They've got a Facebook live stream going as well, so make sure you check that out if you're curious as to what's going on at other high school football stadiums in and around the area. Make sure you check out that Spitzer of Amherst postgame show. They'll have it all for you as we wrap things up. Well, the drive of the game was a really hard decision last week, not so hard here tonight. When the game-winning drive goes the way it did, a dozen plays, 83 yards, and a 1-yard touchdown rush and a quarterback sneak from Cam Williams. That made that decision pretty easy for us. Drive of the game brought to you by Valley Chevrolet. Keep on driving with Valley Chevrolet in Wellington. Well, that puts a cap on a regular season for us. Of course, the postseason gets going next week. And again, you can hear contests, at least that's our hope anyways, on WOBL and on WDLW, but it's the end of the line for both video streams. Boy, where do you begin, man? This has just been so much fun to be a part of the Lorain County Four Horsemen the last couple of seasons. I missed you guys in week 1, but you guys have been stuck with me the last 9 weeks. It has been so awesome to work with you guys for a second season in a row. It's just a blast. When you work with a crew as great as you guys, you obviously know what you're doing. Makes my job a heck of a lot easier. So thanks not only to you, but to Edwin and Sam as well for all of your hard work throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, I mean, even though we missed you week 1, I think we had plenty of games and excitement to make it feel like 10 weeks in the best way possible. As it's been a really fun ride, and really glad that this venture for WOBL, the Lorain County Sports Network, continued on this year.
Yeah, we were treated to some terrific games this season, especially in the second half of the season. We've had lots of fun calling these ones, especially from week 5 on. Well, lots of people to thank. You know, it's a lot easier to do our jobs when we get cooperation from the athletic departments all across the area, the coaches in this area too, always so easy to work with to get us the information that we need. The head coaches for not only giving us time that you guys hear, you know, during the pregame interviews, but they certainly give us a lot more than that as we get set to prepare for every single game. So a huge thanks to all of those individuals for helping us out along the way. Of course, we want to thank all of you out there who consistently made us a part of your Friday evening festivities. It is always a blast for us on Friday nights to call these games, and we appreciate all of you out there for making us a part of your Friday night. Well, as a freelance play-by-play guy in this area, I get to work with a lot of different crews. I put this one up against every last one that I work with. Max, for all of your hard work, incredible, colorful analysis, the captain of our ship, Edwin Vereen, getting us on consistently and always doing a wonderful job of making sure that we stay on. When you guys see those replays, it's not like we just wave our magic wand. Edwin does the work to get that to all of you so you can see it seconds after it happens. The reason you guys have no problem seeing what's happening is because Sam Sovacool always is on the spot, getting you the shot that everybody wants to see. He's all over it. He has been since week 1. So the entire crew here, man, just does a wonderful job, and it's just a pleasure and an honor to be a part of it. So thanks to all of you guys for a job well done, going all the way back to week 1 in North Ridgeville. Again, your final score in this one, it's Clearview 20 and Keystone 19. Any final thoughts from you, my friend, before we sign off?
Man, week 10, it always gets me a little emotional in my field sitting to see the kind of celebration we have here in the post game. It just it adds to that. So it's been an incredible run, and it doesn't feel like 10 weeks. It flies by, and that's just the nature of high school football, man. There's nothing like it.
Well, you're right, because 1 second you're sweating your tail off at the end of August, and then the next thing you know, it's almost Halloween and you're freezing your tail off. So
bringing the coats and everything.
It goes by very, very quickly. This season certainly was no different. 2025 was one for the ages here on the Lorain County Sports Network, and we were very happy to bring not only this one to you, but all 10 weeks of the regular season. That's all the time we have for you tonight. Again, for continued coverage, tune into WOBL and WDLW. John Guzik and company will have you covered, and they'll take you up until 11 o'clock tonight. Our thanks to the entire staff up here in the press box at Clearview for their help and hospitality. Always love coming out to Clearview and calling games. Hopefully we get a chance to do this a couple of times next season. We'd like to say thanks to both head coaches for their help going into tonight's game. Don Griswold of the Keystone Wildcats and Coach Cody Kea of the Clearview Clippers for their help getting us prepared for this one. Our thanks to all of you for tuning into it, and my thanks to the entire broadcast team. Sam Sovacool on the camera, Max Drummond on his colorful analysis, and our director, Edwin Vereen. That's going to do it. One final time, your final score. Clearview comes back to defeat Keystone 20-19. For Max, Edwin, and Sam, this is Andy Bullbarch saying thanks again for tuning in to our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network.